They're swapping cables and figuring something.
Working on it. Yeah, it should in a minute.
We should be. Are we about ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Los says we're about ready.
Oh no! What the fuck happened?
Then you just said, "Oh no."
Fucking hash brown.
Gotta relax.
Fucking hash brown. He says it's your fault somehow.
Earth Radio. And now here's
5 more minutes.
Okay.
human music.
Does he want to talk about his
I like it.
shit or something?
He's trying to watch us live, and he's like, "Why aren't y'all live yet?"
Dan, calm down. Yeah, I'm looking at the blank screen thing, and it says we got 3 people watching. I was like, who the fuck is watching a blank screen?
I like it.
Cricket grew. Scrick grew. Scrick grew.
I like it.
Ready when you are. Masks. Hip dip dip it double dip up.
Oh, you. I like it. Yes. Ooh. Ha. You. You too. Boo. Sorry, we're like working out some technical challenges at the moment. Yo. Singing out a tune for you, bros. Hanging out with you, bros. Got my hoes too, those. They just my friends. We just call them hoes because they want to pretend like they are, but really they identify. And it would be rude of me to not say that they're not hoes, because they identify as hoes. Because they all identify as hoes. Because they all identify as hoes. That's the new writer in Lowe's song right there. Because they all identify as hoes. Inspired by some Flight of the Conchords. Because they all identify by It's their cadence, that guy with the lower voice. It's okay if you want to help me.
That's
later.
Jermaine.
I'm
The lowest, lower
Gotta
voice,
relax.
Jermaine. They identify as
Radio.
hoes.
You do it already, so
I'm the impression guy. That's why you gotta
Identify.
fucking bring this up to me. I'm the impression guy.
barely.
Are you pouring the beer out?
Barely. Oh, is it time to get the beer finally?
Yeah, and get me a
Yeah, we can go ahead and get
Charm.
that.
Get me a glass too, so I can pour it.
Yeah. Now, let's see. The graphic is going to be just off to your right, so right there in the middle between you two.
Now you're way too hot.
Am I?
Fucking yelling into the mic. Or
I know, man. Sorry, I just get worked up. Maybe I just
Still
need to turn my
too loud.
volume up.
Just turn yourself down. No, you're too loud still.
Am I still too loud?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, you might be
Stop
right.
yelling at me. Thank you, sir.
Oh, fuck.
Holy fuck.
Reagans.
Yo.
I like it.
We're gonna get started here really soon. Andrew Blatt and Hash Brown looking in the background. Loo.
Those weren't words.
Yeah, man. They weren't words. What are you doing? Ow! What about? They get
I wasn't-
here.
You didn't start it.
I wasn't supposed to do that.
God damn it.
Such a stupid producer today.
Sorry, man. Hey, man, I had a long day, all right?
Fuck, I don't fucking care. When you come here, you leave that shit behind. You leave it in your car, you fucking prat.
I'm sorry.
Chris Pratt.
Please don't fire me. Please don't fire me. I enjoy this.
Goddamn lucky that I'm fucking, yeah, just lucky. I like it. Ooh, rick.
I mean, it's not like the 2 of the 3 members of Emergency Exit have written a song that we could be playing or anything. Let's just keep with this weird trancey stuff.
Let's play that song. Do you have it on hand? God damn it. Can you believe this guy today? Fucking Brandon.
Man,
Man, you guys are just teaming up on me.
I'm not teaming up.
You're instigating.
I'm just tired of this weird trance song where all the actual melodies
How
are
about you
way
just-
off beat. It's fucking annoying me.
Burning my
How
ears.
about you just shut your mouth?
I can't. I have to talk on the show.
Oh, damn. Well,
All right, where am I at on this?
Fucking nowhere.
This is the latest we're starting, and there's 4 people sitting here watching it.
Right?
Like we're.
no.
Hey guys, what are you guys fucking doing? I came to watch my emergency exit. Oh, this is better. Ladies and gentlemen, this is on the toolbox.
Whiskey and a beer. I suffered a whole day just to get here.
You made up for it, Brandon.
No
Being so
time to
shitty today.
waste, no time to lose. That's why I doubled
Man.
down on whiskey and a beer.
Nick Ryder is a queer.
Seems unnecessary. You have no proof.
Evidence. Those little licks in there. Whiskey and a beer.
Oh, we should do a parody of our own song. Walk briskly out of here.
The fucking Weird Al Yankovic version.
Of our own song, yes.
I'll walk briskly out of here.
Walk briskly out of here.
That's hilarious, dude.
You're welcome, listeners. Yeah. I don't know if you're aware, but this was nominated for Best Guitar Solo of 2018.
Really?
Yeah.
Where's the live chat? It should be there. It's already there. It should be there.
The live chat? Yeah, we got people already active on it.
You still standing here.
I don't think it's such a bad idea.
Yeah.
All right. You ready?
Whiskey and a beer.
Red Eye.
Last call is drawing near.
Well, Hash Brown, if you
Hash
can
Brown
hear me,
can't find the-
shut your fucking mouth already.
Can't find the live chat.
You know what? We've. I think you should know that we blocked you forever from chatting. I'm just kidding. We haven't done that, buddy.
Whiskey and a beer.
Turn down that whiskey and a beer for a moment while I.
Soundboard is working. Soundboard is still working.
Thank you.
Still continues to work.
I don't know. I refuse to think that it works until I hear Tommy Wiseau.
It doesn't matter who comes, they lead interesting lives. How dare you talk to me like that?
Okay, good.
All right, the soundboard is working.
We will interview.
Oh, hey, we're on.
Fresh out of the queue. Hi, Mark. Kick-ass people.
Oh, hi, us.
We've got questions. We've got answers. Kick-ass people with Nick and Los and Brian, yeah.
Emergency. The fresh exit. So I got to see the
We
meat
can call it
puppets on tour.
Uranus.
Say that again.
I got to see the meat puppets on tour.
Oh, you did.
You started to explain, so I just was like, I got to explain something. I got to jump into it.
Yeah, you did.
Like, I don't know what. Just
So-
I just
Oh,
got. I'm
it
just
comes
gonna.
to
I
mind.
just. I got.
So you saw the meat
I got to
puppets
see
play,
the
huh?
meat puppets. That's what I was asking about them earlier.
Oh yes, you saw them.
The
Got to
meat
see 'em
puppet
live.
sounds like something you do with your junk when you get out of the shower.
Now you're too low.
You do that in the shower. Why you just do not utilize your shower time well?
All right, you
I
guys ready to
conserve
do
water
this?
is what I
Everyone
do.
ready?
I suppose. Let me do stuff
I'm not
on
ready.
my end. Whenever you're ready, just let me know.
People are already watching. We need to give them something to watch, not
Do
the
you have the
standby
beer ready?
screen.
I do.
Okay.
So let's get going. Hey, what's the order?
I don't know.
We'll
do
just
it.
play
Are you
it.
doing the
You're going
microaggressions?
first.
Why are you doing microaggressions first, and then why don't you just lead into yours?
Yeah, I'll do microaggressions
And
first.
Just lead into yours.
Okay, done. You have to just hop in when I'm done.
Then who's second?
I'll go second.
Well, whoever's gonna
All right,
bleed in right.
I'll come. I'll bring up the rear.
All right, bring
Yeah,
in the
you
queer.
will.
That's right.
All right,
That's right.
are we ready? Should we start it?
Yes.
To shoot it
Yes.
real quick. Everyone's
Yes, we
shooting
should
it.
start it.
First, here, let's have a song for because of course. Oh, come on, fuckface. This is Clive.
God damn it, Clive.
Fucking Clive.
He always just sneaks in, man.
I saw you guys pouring out
Here we
some
go
alcohol.
with the whiskey.
Cheers. I saw you guys pouring out some of that alcohol and thought I'd join you. Is it all right?
I'm gonna wait for a minute.
Do you mind if I join you? Well, Clive,
Just to refill. Oh, okay.
see, these guys aren't really paying attention, but I think you're thinking you can just slide your ass in here, Clive, and just drink beers with us. But that's not how it's going to happen.
I want nothing to do with Clive's ass.
Come on, Nick.
Clive, if you want to get in the circle, you gotta bring some bud, man.
Yeah, Clive, get your ass out of here.
What do you want from me, boys?
You gotta bring some bud next time you come to the circle. You can't keep
You say
showing
bud?
up empty-handed.
All right,
and
are we
expect
starting
us
this?
to
Are we
smoke you
starting
out.
this? We're losing people.
All right, fine. Let's get this motherfucker started.
We're losing people.
All right, check.
Can you shut Clive up?
check.
There we go. Chica what? Chica. Chica fake ID.
Wait for it.
You are now listening to
Emergency
Our
exit.
contestant is Carlos. His friends call him Los. Los?
That's right.
I do tend to explode only when by myself.
What's the big deal that she
Touched
did
a man's trash can.
that? Bro, right now I'm committing a Schedule 1 felony. Allegedly. And it's bullshit.
He's the mole, dude.
He's got the mole in the base of his cock, dude. It's fucking home like a hole.
Mom, you are a horrible human being.
She's being
You know what? Why
right.
don't you die from breast cancer or something?
Wow.
No, you take that back.
That's usually hey, I'm so and so, blah blah blah. I'm also a Mormon.
But in the event of an emergency, your regular exit might not be
All
the
right.
quickest or safest way out.
emergency exit is painted on.
There's no way out.
That's right. Now is the time to open your mind. In our search for the unknown, who knows what we will find? This is Emergency Exit. This is episode 84. Today is July 30th, 2018. We are broadcasting to you again from our floating tin can far above the world. I am your host, Los. Follow me on Twitter at That's Right Los. Joining me as always, follow him on Twitter at Rider Guitar is Nick, the Hard Hat Passion Rider.
Oh, I got an extra name now.
Right here.
He's like, oh, how dare you, sir? Streaming us live to the universe and working hard for that money is Brandon, the Hard Hat Mitchell. And I'm only saying that because these two boys were working so
Yeah,
hard
that's
for the
right.
same money, working
I
hard together.
I was
wearing
a
hard
junior
hats.
hard hat this
He
week.
was. You were an apprentice hard hat.
Apprentice hard
Yeah,
hat.
you got to work your way
Hard
up.
hat to be.
Sounds like a weird like porn name. Apprentice Hard Hat.
Well, more of a
Apprentice
porn name.
Hard
Up. I was about to say up and coming
Ooh.
hard hats. That's a bit more of a porn name.
Yeah, let's just
You know,
stick with
'cause it-
apprentice hard
Because
hat.
it come.
Hard hat apprentice. I like that one.
Okay.
Welcome back to another program of Emergency Exit. Thank you guys so much for being with us
Yeah,
once
thank you
again.
everybody for tuning in.
If you guys are streaming live on Facebook, say hi, drop us a line, say something.
Yeah.
Got some viewers out there. It's good
Talk-
to see you guys out there.
Talk some trash.
Talk some
yeah.
trash, say some
Yeah,
stuff.
or
There's
or be
Brandon
nice.
right
I
here.
guess that's a possibility also.
What are we going to talk
Sure.
about today? You guys know?
No.
Well, let me tell you. On
I
today's
thought
show,
that's why you wanted me on the show was to be that unprepared everyday out. You know, I'm the everyman's.
well, yeah, I always
opinion
imagined it
type
to
of
be
guy.
like the Tom Green show. Like that's what I loved growing up. And he had that one guy that just sat there in the corner and just laughed. He was just that guy that laughed. And then
I'm
fully
the guy. I just have no idea. So I come up with all the questions and the other perspectives that listeners be like, yeah, really, what about that?
I brought him in for it, and he doesn't laugh, and I have to do something else with him. I can't just kick him off. He's
Yeah,
like, "You're not
well.
funny, dude," and I'm like, "Well, okay, I can't make him laugh."
Yeah. So it's my problem instead of you not being funny. I see
Well,
how it is.
actually, it's a bit of a microaggression that you're not laughing at my joke.
Oh, what is this microaggression you speak
Well,
of?
let's talk about that on today's show.
Oh, what a setup!
The final of 3 episodes on freedom of speech. First, we went over the facts about hate speech. We learned that there is no such thing as
Whatever.
so-called
I fucking
hate speech.
That class sucked.
You hate speech class?
See? Come on, guys. Stick with me. Come on.
Okay, in our last episode, we learned about where political correctness came from and where it's going. We're talking about the Marxists. No, not the brothers. Marx.
Yeah, I know. You made that joke on the episode last week.
Well, just
Quit.
in case anyone wasn't with us.
The horse is already dead. Stop beating it.
I like to beat him. I also was checking.
Okay.
Well, we're going to pull that clip, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Mark the time.
Well, this week we will bring you microaggressions and banned media.
Banned media.
Banned media.
And that's not
banned media.
like your favorite band's Twitter page or something. Not that type of banned media.
Yeah, not banned, but banned.
Not banned, but banned.
Yes, from music to art and
I got
books.
it. Yeah, banned instead of banned.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Yeah,
but not to be confused with banned.
Right.
'Cause you don't want that.
No.
At first, I thought you didn't have it, but you're right on the dot with it.
But now you got it.
But now you have it, brother.
Just like the herp.
So, some of the things have been deemed immoral and indecent, and we're going to talk about them. And then later we got some news. Actually, we don't have any news. Maybe I'll.
Why even say that?
Because I wrote it when I thought I'd have something to pull up. But first,
Perfect.
let's go ahead and do a Brew World Order. That's right.
It's the Brew World Order.
All right, what do we have here? I seriously haven't even looked at this beer
No,
yet.
we have no idea what the fuck this is.
All right, this is.
This one's my fault. I take all responsibility.
Do you want to talk about it a bit here?
I don't know. I was in. I stopped by a liquor store to get a lovely libation.
Yeah, that's sort of standard.
Our standard. And then I was looking for a beer to have for Brew World Order, and there's not really much we haven't covered in this liquor store. It had a really bad selection of beer, but I saw this, and I was like, well, we definitely have not done that one yet. And it is GPA.
What does that
by
stand for? Oh,
Grade
German.
point average. Oh, German Pale Ale.
Oh, and I see what they did with the A+.
Yeah, because they have the little A+.
Oh, what is it
of
right here
GPA.
next to me?
And it's
Here's the A+ right
Oh
there.
yeah, I don't have to hold the can up anymore. So yeah, GPA's got the A+ on there. It's by Three Nations Brewing Company out of Farmers Branch, Texas. Farmers Branch, Texas.
Where the fuck is Farmers Branch?
That's a very good question.
You have a little heat to Nick there on the mic there?
I have no idea where Farmers Branch is. Anyway, so we got a German Pale Ale. This is just all I could find that we hadn't had. What's in a GPA?
Tell me.
The unadventurous say midterms, flashcards, and all-nighters. We take a more radical approach. After all, who cares what you graduated with? Our GPA consists of a subtle blend of bitterness accompanied by passion fruit, citrus, and tropical fruit-like aromas. Tropical fruit-like aromas.
Tropical.
Go ahead. Enjoy this above-average beer. Because your intelligence can't be refined in the classroom. Did I sound like I was announcing a 90s movie? Like an American Pie style comedy type of announcer?
What's in the IGPA?
Because your intelligence can't be refined in the classroom.
Yeah, you have some
However,
90s
they
music
did
playing.
on the can, they call themselves an above average beer. Like, not good, not great, not amazing or delicious or tasty, just above average.
So they know that,
Room for
they're not
improvement.
shooting for greatness.
Right.
They want to beat
So
the majority.
we are really in for something here.
And as you guys can see, with the new out of the glass or out of the
Also,
can thing here.
Don't put an A+ on your fucking can if you're calling yourself just above average. That's like B- at best, right?
I think you might have a point.
Hold up. Unless the average is that everything is amazing.
C average. So B-
Hold
is
up,
above average.
Take it easy. You're shot out of a cannon. what if the average is all A's and he was just above average, which is A+?
But that's the best. Then that's not above average. That's the best.
It's the best. Believe
And
me.
this doesn't say that. This just says above average.
I've
It's a
had
very
the
humble
best.
beer.
It's a very humble and
The
affable
humility
beer.
of this beer is much more impressive than its aroma, I must say.
Well, let's take a sip
right,
out of it.
here
It's
we
got
go.
an light amber
you show
color.
them what it looks like. I'm
it's-
waiting to taste it until my
Looks like it's
until
very
my rating.
filtered through, so there's no cloudiness at all.
No bugs in it. That's a good sign.
No bugs is a very good sign. So I'm gonna take a little sippy poo,
Yep,
which
yep,
I've
start us
been
off, start us
doing. Here
off.
we go. It's pretty good, man.
Is it above average?
I don't know if it's above average. What's the alcohol by volume on this, boys? 5.2.
5.2.
For pale ale, that's not bad, and it's not too hoppy either. Does the IBU on this? Does anyone have that?
I don't have it.
No. Does
well,
Hard
that's
Hat have
funny.
it?
Yeah, that
we-
you guys
should
should
we
ask
guess?
about that. Yeah, go for it.
All
Guess
right, so
the
let me
IBU.
take another sippy poo here, and where I think
Alright,
the
rate it
scale
up.
is from a 0 to a 120 or 130. We should look it up. I don't know why we don't. It doesn't matter. Here we go.
Are you going to rate this, or are you just going to just blather about?
First, I'm going to do the IBUs, and then we're going to rate it, and then whoever wins it gets to rate first. That's how we do it. Remember, that's how we win this game.
I thought it was $100 bills straight out of Hard Hat's pocket.
Well, I learned that he cheaped out because it should be $500 bills.
5?
Why don't you just
I'm
rate
just supposed to roll around with
Just rate the beer. We
$500
can still get
bills.
to the IBUs. We don't need to hold this up. Just rate it.
IBUs. Well, it's very low, so I want to say it's even lower than it was last week. So it's going to be 27. 27
27.
IBUs.
On a
for
scale
lowest
of 1 to
passion,
5,
where are
on a
you?
scale of 1 to 5, you're rating this a 27.
No, IBUs, dog.
Why are we not just rating the beer?
Because this guy's so eager to get into the fucking topic today.
Man, he's ready for
I
it.
know, and I love it.
I love your
why-
passion.
This is why we call him the passion. But no, we're talking about the IBUs.
I don't
International Bitter Unit.
fucking 21.
Oh, that's right. It was lower than 21. I'm still gonna stick with my 25. Did I say 25?
I think you did.
I'm gonna stick with 25.
I don't think that.
27 is what I
Please,
said.
somebody
Oh,
write
21
in.
and 27.
Somebody
All right.
write in and correct me if I'm wrong, but I am guessing that not a single listener gives a flying fuck about us guessing about IBUs. I'm just putting that out there.
All right, very well. What is it?
32.
I win. All right.
Wow.
What is
Moving on.
You win. So what do you want? What do you rate this?
How
beer?
do I win? You were closer. That's Price is Right rules. You win.
Oh, now you care about my stupid little silly game.
No, I don't. But if this is what we're doing, then let's fucking do it.
I always go last. So Brandon, go ahead.
I will rate this. Let me get another swig here.
Yeah, suck it down. God, dude, he takes the weirdest sounding sips.
Oh. I don't know, man. I'm not feeling it. I'm going to say 2.74.
Wow.
2.74.
Dude,
Yeah.
not even enough to get the 3/4 all the way.
Nope.
What about you, Mr. Passion Writer?
I like it, actually.
Wow. Well, it's German, and he is a writer.
Yeah, I am.
Writer in the beer. Take him by the beer.
I like it. I'm not like
Make
it is
him
above
under
average. I will say
beer.
this is above average.
Interesting.
I'm not going to go so far as to say good, but it's above average.
Well,
I will give this. I will give this a 3.38.
All right, 3.38.
I mean, that's not bad.
That's
I like
pretty
it.
good.
I like this.
That
It's
is
not
above
bad.
average.
It's delicious. It's perfect. It's above average.
Those three words do not go together.
They're perfect. They're
One of these
magnificent.
things is not like the other.
As I keep drinking it, it tastes better and better.
I know it is getting better every sip. I
Yeah,
gotta say,
I
it
must
grows
say.
on you, much like a tumor.
And I have to agree that it is an above average beer at this point. It's pretty delicious. And that being said, I'm going to give this a 4.01.
Oh,
That's the Brew World Order.
the old GPA.
It's the Brew World Order. Well, what are we doing today, boys? We're going to be talking about freedom of speech one last friggin' time. So if you guys missed us these last 2 previous weeks, you'll know that we've been covering free speech. The first episode we covered was hate speech after Hard Hat and I did some interviews at Westboro Baptist Church
Fuck
protest.
those people.
Let's talk about that. Why do you say fuck those people?
I just don't like bigots.
You see this?
I see it.
You see this?
I see it.
You
I
see this,
it.
Brandon?
I see
This
it.
is what
It's-
free speech
it's
is all about.
happening right in front of my eyes.
That's right. I mean, I'm not saying they are not allowed to do it. I'm just saying I don't like them. I don't like their mindset.
I wish we could pull that clip where he goes because somebody
I don't like
pointed out
bigots.
someone pointed out in the video on our Westboro video, like he
How the
pointed
guy
out the
contradicts
timestamp.
himself.
Where he goes, they have a right to do that. They don't have a right.
They don't have any right to come here and protest.
You have a right to do anything you
no,
want.
they have a
I
right
mean,
to.
you're
I just
talking.
think
It was
they're
less
shitty.
than 10 seconds.
Absolutely.
They're fucking awful people. but they have a right to be awful people. But I also have the right to call them awful people.
You absolutely do.
Hey, Nick, according to Hash Brown, you're above average.
He would know.
What a queer.
Thank you, Hash Brown.
Well, that's right. What about me? Whatever, freaking Brown.
You've never shared. Never shared a bed with Hash Brown,
Roxanne
so he
also
can't.
agrees with Nick. Now, with what, I'm not sure.
Agrees.
But
with
she
Roxanne?
agrees with Nick. Yeah,
What were we just talking about? Oh, with Westboro.
probably,
She agrees with Westboro.
maybe.
They have a right to be shitty people, but I also have a right to call them shitty
Oh.
people.
We got
Yes.
we got some trash talk in the comments section.
What is this? What's happening?
We got Coach. Hash's man crush for you, Nick, is bigger love than Trump has for himself, and we all
Wow,
know.
that's heavy.
You can't even prove any of
Oh,
that.
the IBUs. The IBUs is what Roxanne agreed with. So that's.
Oh, that nobody cares about our IBU game?
I guess so.
Fuck you, Roxanne.
Damn.
Thank you, Roxanne.
Stop listening to my show right now.
That's right.
You know what, Roxanne? Just for that,
I love being proved right.
Turn off my show.
Thank
just
you,
for that,
Roxanne.
Roxanne,
I'm not going to your wedding.
you're gonna waste that dinner on me that doesn't show up.
What?
Are you
That
not
doesn't
going
even
to
make
her-
sense?
No, I'm just
Are
kidding.
you going? Are we going to her wedding?
I planned on it.
Are you going? Did you plan on it?
I don't know that
Well, I
either
have to
any
now.
of us
She
have
agrees with me,
RSVP'd,
so
but
Doesn't matter. We're all going.
yeah, we'll be there.
I'm definitely going to be there.
Guys, I actually
Are
bought
we doing a live show from now?
I actually bought a shirt for that weekend.
A tuxedo T-shirt?
No, not a tuxedo T-shirt. A little more classier than that, but we should do a
There
live
is
show
no
from
more class than that. Get out.
All right, let's move on here,
All right.
guys. So the following week, like I said, we did political correctness and its diabolical roots in Marxist thinking. This week, we discover works of art that have been subject to controversy at one point or another. Nick the Passion has hidden us with some rock and roll jams that rock a few people too hard on the toolbox on KLOS, the Los of Emergency Exit. Hard Hat went into his vast library and dug out some goodies in literature.
He does have quite a library. I've
That's
been to his
right.
house.
Oh, really?
He's got
little
an
bit.
impressive book
You
collection, I must say.
you a bookie or something?
Yeah, and I went and bought some more over the weekend. Went to
And I
Half Price
appreciate that
Books.
because I've always got like 3 books going on. So I saw it when I went to his house. I was like, my man
What's that?
with the books.
You ever
Love it.
hear that thing that Jerry Seinfeld talks about? It's like, what's the deal
What's
with
with
books?
the airline food?
What's with the books? Why would you need books? What are they, like trophies? Like, yes.
Actually, they are, yeah.
I read that.
Or it's
Yes,
more it's
That's
like,
yes, that is
well,
1984.
yeah, there's a bit of that, but
I
there's
read
also I enjoyed this, and I will like to
Who
read it
are
again
these
someday. So
people? Anyways, yeah, it's not.
Moving on.
I like books. I like them.
I know you've got so many all around.
Did you actually bring the books, or are you just going to talk about those books?
Just gonna talk about them, but
All right.
I do have a lot of the ones that I'm gonna talk about.
And you do? Okay, great. So, and I'll be hitting you guys with some band artwork and some Microaggression. But first, we're going to go. Oh, I didn't even pull this little video here.
Microaggression.
Microaggression. First, we're going to go over some
Fucking
fun.
Yarlands all of a sudden.
No. we're gonna
Some
hunt I'm
microaggression.
going to go over some hunk gator. And you don't even see them. They'll come around and they'll bite you right in the dongle. They'll bite you. Hey, you one of them shitty boys?
So, I
Damn it.
guess that's why I'm the impression guy, because I don't know what the fuck that was.
Well, no, they usually get better when he goes. You just have to let him find that groove.
Oh, is that me?
See you impersonate that, dog.
I'll get that. Was that Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec? It sounded like Ron Swanson. That is Ron Swanson.
That was me.
Oh, that sounds like a Ron Swanson laugh.
Anyways, let's talk about some microaggressions here for a
All
moment
right.
before we get into some of the band.
Is that when your
stuff.
microfibers don't clean the floor well enough?
What is microaggression?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Well, microaggression, and this comes right from
When
unmasking.
you're just kind of slightly peeved. When you're not full on aggressive, you're just like, darn it. That's a microaggression, right?
As opposed to macroaggression when you're
Right.
really mad.
Like, I'm not angry enough to actually punch this person, but darn it, I really don't like that he bumped into me, and I'm upset about it.
You know that in the form that we're going to be learning about it. No, it's not. That's actually more than microaggression. That's actually just aggression.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So aggression and microaggression is not on the aggression scale. It's a separate thing altogether.
Well, it's on the very bottom of it.
Okay.
I don't
All right.
know. I don't know how
Well,
to
why don't
describe
you
it
tell us
really.
about it?
Well, this comes from this article I pulled from thefederalist.com.
The Federalist.
Yeah, I don't even know. I just pulled it something something I thought was interesting here, and I read it, and it's pretty good here. And it's called The Unmasking. Unmasking the Mustachioed Menace.
Sounds like a Batman
Of
animated
aggression.
movie.
Unmasking the Mustachioed Menace. I'm going to read you some of the choice nugs from here.
Oh, good. I love nugs.
Microaggression. You do not
Living that nug life.
You don't live the nug life, and that's
Bullshit,
what pisses
dude.
me off.
Fucking Burger King's got 10 of them for $1.50. I go there all the
Those are
time.
terrible nugs.
Dude, those are awesome nugs.
Yeah,
Beat the shit out. McDonald's got bad nugs.
Hey, I had Wingstop nugs.
Wendy's
for
has
lunch.
really good
Those
nugs.
are good nugs.
See, there we go. That's the nug life.
McDonald's?
Those are
Favorite
respectable.
best nug sauce? Best thing to dump nugs into.
Wendy's,
Barbecue.
that shit that they have, the Sawsome sauce.
I
don't
have
know
never
if they
tried
have it
their
anymore,
Sawsome sauce.
but that shit is good.
Call us live, you guys, and
What's your
settle
favorite
this
nug
debate.
sauce?
Yeah, 830-875-0637. We are taking calls at all times.
Regarding nug sauce only.
I'm talking about microaggressions here, so let's
All right,
move on
sorry.
with
All right.
microaggressions, boys.
Go.
Microaggression is a term first coined by Harvard Medical School psychiatrist Chester Pierce in the 1970s that, at least in its original meaning, describes situational, spoken, or behavioral slights, especially unintentional.
Especially unintentional.
Okay. That convey ignorance, hostility, or dismissal toward individuals belonging to minority or marginalized groups.
Okay, so real quick, is that like the scene from King of the Hill where the guy says, "I'm Laotian," and they go, "What ocean?"
I'm from Laos. Stupid.
Unintentional displaying ignorance, like what that. So that would be microaggression.
We'll get into
Ocean.
yeah, you bring up a really good point.
Right?
We're going to talk about that in a little bit here.
Okay, sorry.
No worries, bud. Pierce is also quoted as saying that all children of 5 years old entering school are mentally ill. The reason they're mentally ill is the children's.
No, they're 5-year-olds, man.
Well, no, they're mentally ill, and I'll tell you why Pierce thinks that. The children have loyalty to their parents, their founding fathers, and belief in God or supernatural being. Makes sense, right? The educational system must seek to correct these mental illnesses, Pierce argues.
Well,
anyways, this is
That's
not
a
a big
separate
story
story, sorry.
about
I'll
this guy. No, you can go ahead and
I was
chime
gonna
in.
say that they believe in this shit because they're fed that. Like they're just getting into school, so it's more the parents' fault.
Yes.
Oh, hey, Santa, Tooth Fairy, blah, 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 blah. All the shit that we're eventually going to have to break to you is not true, but we're totally feeding you now.
Well, imagine those fucking kids that are parents that are flat earthers.
No shit.
That they're being taught this kind of
So
shit.
it's not the
and they're
kids'
gonna
fault.
grow
The
up-
kids aren't actually mentally ill. It's just all they've known so far is the fucking bevy of lies their parents have been feeding them.
Yeah, and they fucking start. Then they bury you in their bunker for fucking 30 years, and you come back up, and you're Brandon fucking Fraser.
Oh,
Fucking
God.
dude. And you have an IBM stock certificate from back then though, so that shit's worth $1 billion.
Luckily.
Let's talk about the study. Let's look at how subtle microaggressions may manifest. And this
All
is an
right, let's do
example
it.
here.
Let's look at it.
A middle-aged white male in a city of white majority offers his seat to a kindly-looking black lady of older age on a crowded subway train. Nobody looks twice. Perhaps the lady even smiles as she accepts the offer. But did you know that the male individual may well have committed microaggression?
Yeah, that's an aggressive move.
Why is it an aggressive move? Or at least
I was being completely sarcastic.
But why would you imagine that it would be a microaggression?
Because they're going to say he only did it because she's two minorities, woman and of color.
Yeah.
That's the only reason he did it. He wouldn't have done that for anybody else. He only did that
There's
'cause she
actually
was
a couple extra
female
reasons
minority.
you can throw on top of that. That maybe because she's a woman, you
And
think
elderly.
that you think an elderly that you think that I need that seat. I'm an independent Walmart. I don't need your seat.
Right. And she could have said that if that was how she felt, but
maybe
there's
she's
also
stuck in her society role, in her societal role as an old kindly woman, as it says right here, and she's like has to be kindly in an old woman.
she doesn't have to be kindly, but if she wants to sit down and someone offers her a seat, fucking it's like when you're carrying a bunch of shit and someone holds the door or like offers to help you carry something, you don't go, "Oh, no, don't assume that I can't handle this." You're like, "Yes, I would appreciate
But
help."
there are people like that who would get mad because you
Sure.
open a door for them.
Right, and I've had that before. I have definitely experienced holding a door for someone and getting cussed out because I was holding a door for someone. So I know, but so like there's a difference between I'm trying to be nice for someone who needs this thing more than I do right now, and obviously I'm assuming you're incapable.
That's the microaggression that he wants to describe here. He says the white man has made hurtful assumptions about her needing the seat more than him, including her identity as a woman, older individual, and member of a minority.
Right. But
That's the microaggression.
But then, on the flip side, if he didn't do anything, not that everybody'd single him out, but he'd be like, why is this old woman having to stand? Like, nobody's going to offer a seat? Like, I don't know, we talk about chivalry.
Yes. Is it dead?
Well, fucking moves like this are killing it for sure. Like, you should offer your seat to somebody. If you're fully able-bodied and somebody isn't, offer them your fucking seat. You can stand easier than they can, period. Like,
It seems like common sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
I don't know why there's such a problem with that.
Common, it's sense
Why
and
there's
courtesy,
such a fight
not
over
that
that
common.
kind of stuff. Go ahead and throw on this website we have here, bud. I gotta swallow all this loogies in my throat. It makes me sound
It's
all
disgusting.
froggy. I got a frog in my
Disgusting.
throat.
You're fucking gross.
So, when people think it's offensive to ask personal questions, we're talking about microaggressions as well. When someone asks
Okay.
you a personal question, sometimes personal questions can be weird to you. When someone asks me, "What am I?" When they're regarding to my ethnicity,
Like the "What am I" game?
not "What am I" game, but they're talking about my ethnicity. It sounds weird to say what are you? It's weird to say that to someone like oh, what's your ethnicity? What are you? It's really just a question to get to know someone better, but some people will take that as an offense.
Right, but that, and I get that, but that also doesn't matter, especially if I don't know if you're third or fourth generation American. Your ethnicity can be whatever, but you're not gonna have any fucking ties.
Can you throw
to
that into the middle of us there?
I did.
Okay, cool.
It's-
So
You know, so like it's not gonna
look
have.
at some of these. Look at some of these here, and I'll
Right, I'm just saying, like-
I'll pop this up here for us to
Damn,
see.
that
Here.
delay is.
Like
We got
your
quite a delay. Don't worry.
It's there though.
your ethnicity has nothing to do with who you are now. Generally,
Right.
it can if you
Listen,
choose.
here's the thing. That's not what we're arguing about. But they're taking offense to when someone goes, "No, really, where are you from?" Like, no, where are
Right,
you from?
because-
Because you look like an Asian person.
Sure. See, there's the
Let's turn it
difference.
down here. Are you
It's not
following me
just
on this here?
Yep.
It's not just going up to someone and say, "Hey, what is your ethnicity?" It's when you go approach someone that you think's a
I agree.
fucking
I
alien.
agree. Well, we're going there, are we? We're not trying to go there, right?
These are all minorities so far on this list.
Well, they're okay. Yeah, they're different ethnicities. I don't see them as
Right.
minorities. Asians
See,
are
so
definitely
if
not a
someone comes up
minority.
to me and is like, "Hey, so what's your background?" I'm like, "What's it matter?"
Look at this one. It says, "So, what do you guys speak in Japan? Asian? Oh, damn! Sounds like
See, because
Jeff
that-
Texan was talking to her.
The shit they get is a lot different than like.
I get it though too, man.
Yeah.
I'm very racially ambiguous, man. Let's go down this one. You don't act like a normal black person, you know. I'm using a very southern
See, now that
connotation.
I get how that's an aggression.
I can get that one. We can get behind. We can
Absolutely.
get behind some of these here. Courtney, I never see you as a black girl. It's just dumb people saying stupid things, and some people going, "Well, that's
Right.
sort of racist." I get that. Let's see. Let's go down some more. Just because I'm Mexican, that doesn't mean I should be the automatic first choice for the role of Dora the Explorer in the high school skit. Actually, it sort of does if we living in this PC world, because we get it to a white person right off the bat. What if the minority Mexican goes like, "Oh,
He's got a point.
It's Dora." Well, yes, just because you are Mexican, it does give you the automatic first choice, which you can absolutely turn down if you don't want.
There you go.
That was a microaggression that I had to read that, because that's a huge microaggression to me right off the bat, that you think that just because you're Mexican, you shouldn't be playing a Mexican role. Next clip. Let's go down some more. One more. So, like, what are you? So I get this one a lot. And as you can see, it sort of without a mustache. I have some glasses that look like that. But yeah, so, like, what are you? I get that one. I've never found that offensive. Some people are just more sensitive than others. Don't you agree?
Sure. And it depends, because sometimes that question can be asked in earnest.
I
Like,
get this one too.
Oh yeah.
oh,
My name's
I get it
Carlos.
too,
My
yeah.
name's Carlos. Wait.
Well,
you
yeah,
don't
I
speak
assume
Spanish?
with Carlos you have to speak
How
Spanish.
fucking dare you, son of a bitch!
It's happened to me. Like I've been talking to
How
somebody and
dare
they're
you
like,
talk to me like that?
you never.
she's just
seen
like
me.
try to start speaking to me in Spanish, and I'm like, I don't speak.
Hey,
and she's
hey.
like, you don't speak Spanish, and I'm like, well,
With
no,
the last
I
name
wasn't.
like Reiter
She's like,
spelled.
well, I wasn't raised in a Spanish speaking, and she
Go down to
was,
this one.
you know.
I definitely can get way behind this one here. No, you're white.
Oh,
that
God
is a
damn it.
microaggression. Stop.
Well,
Which
sadly,
Nick likes to throw that around a lot. Here he goes. I'm defending that
yep.
one.
no, I'm not defending it.
Good. That's
I'm just
my boy.
saying that actually I am. Every bit of my background is just all of it. I'm German, English, Irish.
Yeah, he's
Like,
got a lot of white
it's
guilt
just,
in
it's,
him.
yeah, I'm just
which I
nothing
get,
about
I
it.
understand.
I'm nothing about it. I'm not guilty about it. I'm just saying I am that.
No, so what does your hair look like today? She said she pulled off
see
my
now
hair without
that's
permission.
a
That one's-
microaggression to me because I don't have hair. Motherfuckers, get the
Oh,
fuck it!
yep, we done pissed him off.
You do not.
I'm
talk
out.
you
I'm
do-
out.
You know what? One thing on this show, you can talk about a lot of things on this show. You can talk about fags and queers, but when you start talking about the follically challenged,
Yeah.
we
Thank you
cannot-
for using the proper term.
I'm just PC like that.
You are a PC.
All right, let's move on to the next subject, you guys. So that's about what we have here for microaggressions. Don't you see how silly this can be?
It's just-
and it's one thing that's really not catching on.
Like some of it makes sense. Like some of these
when it says
quotes
this
with,
one,
with people.
that's not just microaggression. That's aggression. When someone pulls off your fucking hat to go, what's under there today? That's not micro. That's not macro.
Right,
That's
right.
straight up aggression.
But when people are making assumptions purely based on the way you look, I get like some
You
of
make
these
an ass out of you
totally
and
makes
me.
sense. Right.
All right,
but-
so
But to lump all the other thing, like, I don't know. I guess any kind of movement or any kind of term, there's a reason for it. So there's some legitimacy, but there's also a whole lot that get lumps into it unnecessarily.
okay.
I would say.
Are you still on this one? I'm not your fucking China doll.
No, I'm down.
He's down. Okay, never mind. All right. Yeah,
Link is in the comments.
What do you guys think? Give us your
Who's
take
in the
on
comments?
microaggression.
The link is
Oh, the link.
not
links-
link. The link.
The link is in the description.
I really thought we had a Zelda adventure going on, and all of a sudden Link is popping up. No. See, you went Star Wars. Stop. Kill it. Kill the reverb. Kill the reverb. You went Star Wars. You fucked up.
You were doing so
You
good.
fucked up.
He was so good.
What we always get from Zelda games is the it's dangerous to go alone. Take this with you, and that's what you get the magic sword
It's when you give him a potato.
or a potato.
I've never really played any Zelda.
You've never played. God damn it!
God.
What the fuck?
All right, this is why we call him the passion.
It's you. You're the next bit. Don't tell us to move on.
Oh, I'm doing the band artwork.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got your stuff
You
queued
said-
up, ready to go, son.
Oh, I thought. Okay, shit.
Damn it!
I thought my first
fucking
stuff.
God.
Fuck it. He's a fucking.
Fucking Rankins.
All right, let's move it on here, guys. So
Holy fuck!
I wanted to talk about some banned art. So no, there's not a lot of art that's been banned. It has been kind of like not
Well,
been
because it
played
was
somewhere.
used to just be burned.
And most
instead
of the
banned.
time, yeah, well, they burn it too if they really deemed it as inappropriate. But most of the time, it's just they ban it because it's got titties or some dick on it. So I want to talk
Wait,
about
like in the painting, or someone put their dick on it?
who knows, actually, dude.
Maybe that's what they painted it with.
Well, speaking of which, let's
Whoa,
throw in the
weird.
first
All
one
right,
here. This
yeah.
is from 1986. This is Gustav Corbett's "The Origin of the World." Is that up there right now?
Yep.
Where is it? Right here in between me?
Yep.
Oh.
Oh, it's
I
right there.
put my
You were-
finger
you're
there.
looking right at it, son.
You're coming up from underneath, buddy.
Guess where I was at? That's not. So
I'm
Smell
not going
my
to smell your
finger.
finger.
this is a really weird piece.
I must say, if this is actually an oil painting, well done.
It's a beautiful oil painting.
Like,
don't you
That's
agree?
a very, very legitimate, realistic-looking oil painting. I will give you that, sir.
There's some controversy over this bad boy.
You think? You don't say.
So it goes all the way back to when somebody commissioned it. I don't want to give you guys too much history. You guys can look it up yourself. It's called The Origin of History. Is that what I said earlier? Origin of War. Origin of.
You don't even know what you said.
It's La Orange.
The origin of the world.
Du monde. Of course. See, I only know how to say it in French. I didn't know how to convert it into English.
Right.
Yeah.
So classy.
L'orange.
Classy out the assy.
L'orange du monde.
The orange of...
As you can guess, this shit was not going to be played at many exhibits for the children's sake.
Displayed?
Showed, played, displayed. Oh, they're still played in there, though. That's cool. Interesting. Oh, well, choice of words. What are you talking about, fucker? What I'm talking about is that basically this did not get showed very much because it had the vagina. And nobody really wanted to show the vagina
Nobody
on
wants
there.
to see a giant hairy vulva.
And
I mean, that's more bush than vagina,
it
though.
came out in 1866.
Actually, vagina.
And the piece did not show publicly until 1995.
Damn.
Its whereabouts between 1866 and the late 20th century remained shrouded in mystery. For such a famous painting, it was seldomly actually seen, and yes, the piece is still too scandalous for Facebook, which censored the work in 2011
Because
for
it's
obvious reasons.
just a close-up of a hairy pussy.
Well, you know what? Censor this.
But wait a minute. It's not just a pussy. It's a painting of a pussy. It's not a pussy. It's a painting of a pussy.
I mean, it's done
is it
in
still
a
up?
Yeah, it's up.
And so what they're saying is the origin of the world is in everything comes from the birth canal.
Yeah, it's the love tunnel.
Yeah, pussy. Let's throw on the next one here, guys.
All right.
This is from 1987, Andres Serrano's Pissed Christ.
Oh, piss Christ.
Once upon a time in 1987, photographer Serrano dipped a plastic crucifix into a cup of his own urine, and it was forever dubbed Piss Christ. The work was shown in New York to a positive reaction. Of course, those goddamn New Yorkers. Fucking
hippies.
Hey, this is good shit. We believe in it. Yet when exhibited in North Carolina
Controversy. Sorry, that was coming in on the comments.
Some controversy. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much for chiming in.
Nice. Who was that?
That was Roxanne.
That's my sister.
Coming in clutch.
This was with funding from the National Endowment of the Arts.
Endowment.
No pun intended, of course. Things got ugly. Local Senator Jesse Helms publicly expressed his outrage, stating that the work dishonored the Lord. The incident caused Serrano to lose grants, and the artist received death threats for nearly 15 years afterwards.
People need to calm down with their Jesus stuff.
Well, you have no problem with it, but you are...
Right, but they have no problem making fun of other deities. So you gotta fucking...
But when you make fun of theirs.
Right, you gotta put yourself in other shoes. Like, you talk about all the other deities you want, and that's fucking great.
Who are you talking about?
But that
The
problem
artists?
isn't just limited to religion, though. I mean, politics.
Right.
Who are you talking about?
I'm saying, like, Christians can talk shit on Muhammad or do whatever about
Christians
any other
don't do
deity.
that.
Or Buddha or
Christians
Hinduism.
don't do that.
Oh, no, never once.
When do
But you
Christians
make
do
fun
that?
of their savior. Oh, well, now, God damn.
Well, because he's the only true one. That's what it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Because there's a book about it.
Yeah.
None of the other
There's-
religions have
there's
books.
the Quran, and there's the
Oh,
Torah.
the other religions have
Well,
books
but
too?
they're fakes. They're fakes.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was mistaken.
If you were to follow one religion, if you had to, like there's no option in which you're not
Dudism.
going to. Dudism, all right.
Great cat in the sky.
What's the Dudism? What's their
You just
philosophy?
live the life of Jeffrey Lebowski.
All right, dude.
Damn right, dude.
Yeah, man. I don't. Whoa. Chinaman is not the preferred nomenclature, dude.
Right. Asian American,
American.
please.
So the piss Christ of this day remains controversial.
The
as
carpet
ever.
pissers did not do this.
The carpet. Well, as you guys can see this picture here, group of protesters attacked the piece with a hammer at the 2011 exhibition. And just last week, this is something last week when it doesn't refer to last week, literally. Just from the most terrible.
The week before this thing was
From
written.
a rather horrible publication, the Huffington Post, the Huffing Paint Post. But sometimes they do some actual stuff, which is good. Which is
say
what I
you're
gotta-
using them as a source, so
because I don't live in a goddamn echo chamber. That's why, motherfucker. Yeah. Let's go to this last one here. So yeah, basically when art gets banned in the U.S., it's pretty much because there's titties in it or dick. Doy, right?
Right, because I went to a music school, everybody. Let me pull my nose. Oh, wow, there it is.
Shit, the delay.
So,
finally good. It's finally
but
Damn.
when I went to school, like, a lot of the students were from all around the world. And every international student was very confused by the, like, really strict Puritan laws we have. Because they'll have billboards with boobs on them, or, like, it's just not that big of a fucking deal, especially boobs.
They will?
Yeah, like,
Oh, yeah.
around the world, like, as specifically Sweden, because I had, my closest friends were in Sweden.
Hold up a second. Do you have Blind Faith up right now? The last image up
Yeah,
right
it's
now?
still up.
The last image is still up. The final one that I have up.
The Piss Christ?
No, the one
No,
after that.
not the
okay,
final
don't put that one up
No,
yet.
I know.
But
He's telling me how to do my
Right.
job.
So they will have billboards and stuff with boobs, and they just don't understand why it's such a big deal. Like banning them and making it this no thing, this taboo fucking thing, causes more problem in their eyes, makes it worse.
Yeah.
When
Hiding
they
and
drive
shielding
along and
people
it's just like,
from it.
okay,
Yeah.
they're boobs, whatever. So then you go to the beach or whatever, you just boobs. Oh, they're
Well,
boobs,
because they have
whatever.
nude
And it's-
beaches all over the place,
Right,
and
it
it's no
doesn't-
big deal.
It doesn't matter because you see them and they're not like taboo. They're not these things that make you want to be like, oh, I got to be a deviant. Go look this out. Or, like, there's no.
But it's not that.
Well, that's
behind
funny.
it.
That
don't
reminds
you see
me.
what happens to like little kids when they start seeing that stuff? They're like, they become little devils and shit. Like, and then
No.
they want to start sticking their
Not
dick
if,
into
not
places.
if, like
That's
that's
exactly
the norm
the
for them.
opposite
Their
of what the
brain-
rest of the world is saying.
Their brain is trying to make them put their
Well-
dick somewhere.
Well, because they've been shielded from it, and so when they do
Right.
finally see it, they're like,
So-
"Oh, that's something I'm not supposed to see."
Exactly.
But when you make
That's
it the
point.
norm,
So the other
not
nations
a big
where they
deal.
don't have this really super Puritan strict ban on stuff, then they're just like, oh, boobs.
yeah,
Okay,
Plus, 5-year-olds are mentally ill.
that's right. According to what's his face, they are mentally ill. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Well, this is the last one I have coming up.
I have
here.
this. I do own this album, and I love it. It's an amazing album.
I remember growing up and seeing the girl with titties. This is from Blind Faith's album, Blind Faith.
Blind Faith.
So the-
Steve Winwood and Eric Clapton and Ginger Baker.
It wasn't Ginger Baker.
Yes, it was.
No.
Yep.
no, that's correct.
That's absolutely true.
Okay.
They
yeah.
didn't think that he was going to be on it, or Clapton didn't think when he signed on because he wanted to get rid of Ginger Baker. That's a part of why he disbanded the band Cream. And then he showed up to record on this album, and Ginger Baker was there. He's like, oh!
God damn it,
Well,
you
he's a
again!
drummer. He's good. We got to keep him.
So they only did this one album, and it's a fucking great album. It really is, but the cover art is a bit...
Well, let me tell you a little bit.
Interpropes.
The cover art that you're looking at here was created by photographer Bob Sneidman. Sneidman? Let's call Sneidman. Yeah, Sneidman. Bob Sneidman, a personal friend and former flatmate of Clapton's, who's primarily known for his photos of Janis Joplin and the Grateful Dead.
Well, he probably did the nude photos of Janis. There are.
There's some out there?
There's
Yeah.
nude
Does she have-
photos of.
I'd
Well,
imagine
at
she's
least
got them-
topless. At least topless. for
Stand
sure.
by, guys.
I'd imagine she has some of those pancake tits. In the mid 1990s, an advertising circular intended to help sell lithographic reprints of the famous album cover. He explained
That's
his
right.
thinking
It's a
behind
thing
the
now.
image.
You can just like buy just the cover. You can even get it on like the 10 signs people hang up.
Yeah.
It's a thing. Like this album cover is now cool
mean,
art
it's
you can go buy,
yeah.
but it's still it's an underage girl's boobs. Period.
And not just
There's no
barely
way around it.
underage.
No, very like she's still budding. They're not actually boobs yet.
Well,
She's that
I did
underage.
some reading on the Los. Do you know the history of?
Well, I was
girl?
actually going to
Yeah,
get
go.
that into
Yeah.
there. So Sneidman wrote that he approached a girl reported to be 14 years old on the London Underground.
Because that's not creepy.
That's all right. About 14.
Hey, little girl.
Well,
Would you like candy and stuffed animals?
You
And,
must be Jewish.
if they're Jewish, they are officially women and woman and men. Let's see. They met on the London Underground about modeling for the cover and eventually met with their parents. But she proved too old for the effect that he wanted. So, I don't know, you're a little too old for this. Instead, the model he used was her younger sister. Her name was Mariora?
Mariora.
Mariora?
Mariora.
She's got the areola sticking out. And Groshin, who was reported to be 11 years old. Mariola, I just
There's
want
not
to say,
an L. Mariora.
No,
It's an R.
she's Mariola. Initially requested a horse as a fee, but was instead paid 40 pounds. 40
I want a horse.
I want a horse. And as you guys can see, this is 14-year-old, actually 11-year-old. So let's get that out of here
Get that
fucking
out,
now,
yeah,
because you guys can tell why it was probably banned in the U.S. because a lot of guys just wanted the fucking cover. What is this? This is a record? What the fuck do I want to do with that? And that's what I have for band stuff.
I believe they did actually sell that one with like a brown paper.
Like paper. They would like
cover it
pornographic
up
paper
in the store.
Because of course you can sell it. You're just not going to sell many of them. Is all.
Sad because it is a good album. So download it so you don't have to get the cover art. Do it that way.
Or
get the music. Get the music on it for sure.
The chick is like
So
fucking
let's
70
talk,
right now.
Let's
so who
talk
gives a
for
shit?
real though. Like, is that or is that not kiddie porn?
That is definitely kiddie porn.
So why? How is it allowed out
It's
there?
11 though. It's not.
No idea.
It's underage
I have
porn.
no answer to that.
does it slip in under the guise
What
of
happens
art?
if you're under indictment for that kind of thing already, and they see that?
Right, 'cause
they
you can
throw that
have,
on top of it.
like,
Like, yep, this is porno.
I don't
Get it?
Naked little kids running around because they're little kids and it doesn't matter.
It's ignorant.
Like in the first Zeppelin movie,
innocent.
Robert Plant's kids are fucking running around naked, and it's not porn. It's just
It's true. I remember growing up,
When
and
they're
there was
super young, it's just whatever. They're little kids, or
my grandpa had this little fountain in his backyard, and we'd hop in that shit naked all the time. And I remember there's pictures of us hopping in that shit naked. So
Yeah.
they took pictures of us.
So
with
where's
us
the
naked.
line from I was just tiny little kids being naked into
The line is when
porn and then into adulthood legality?
Who was that Supreme Court justice where when they were trying to define obscenity or porn, he was like, "Oh, I don't know it, but I know it when I see it." Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Yeah, I know the quote.
It was
but
like
I
in the
don't know
60s or
name.
something. Or like, you'll know porn when you see it. Some
Oh,
crap like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Believe me.
Oh, you know it.
I know the porn when I see it. Mostly because I just typed it into my search bar.
Anyways, let's move on to the next.
All right.
Huh?
Porn?
Huh?
Huh?
Huh? Huh?
Mine?
All right, so who's got the next one here? So we talked about some album covers, anal bum covers, and
Anal bum.
some band art, some of the choice nugs, of course. But we also need to talk about some books.
Oh, we're doing books?
Let's get books, and then we'll finish with yours. What do you
Give me
think?
a second here then.
All right, so
I like it.
because we've all heard that there's books that are banned out there,
There are.
especially one that's responsible for. Well, you couldn't even say it's responsible for killing one of Nick's idols.
Oh, I know what you're thinking of, but no, that wasn't the one.
That wasn't the one.
It wasn't the one. What?
Mark David Chapman didn't go with Catcher in the Rye. He was a Bible guy.
Oh, so that whole thing about Catcher in the Rye and John Lennon's not a thing?
Oh,
no,
it is a thing.
Catcher in the Rye was a thing that a lot of serial killers read.
Sure, but so
But
did the
not,
person. Yeah.
not Mark David Chapman. He had the Bible. They found his copy of the Bible, the Book of John. He had written Lennon.
Yeah.
After
But
his obsession was with God told him to do it in the Bible.
But wasn't I feel like
I mean,
Catcher
maybe
in the Rye is
he might have
right
read
in
it.
there
I'm
with-
sure.
with
I'm
it.
sure he probably read
That's why
it.
this guy
but-
doesn't believe in God because so many people have because of John Lennon. Bottom line, because of
Right.
you're like, no, fuck that. John Jacob
we
Jingleheimer Smith.
can can take a whole episode and I can explain to you why I don't believe in God. It's not John Lennon.
That's Nick Explains.
right there.
I've got good reasons. Wait. I've got lots of reasons why I don't believe in God.
Another episode of Nick Explains in the books. Nick Explains.
Anyway,
so let's move on here because we're going to talk about some books.
Books.
We did say Catcher in the Rye. We shouldn't have said it, but it's probably one of them, I bet.
It's one of them. I was gonna
Take it
start with where was it? To Kill a Mockingbird, Harper Lee. Los, have you read that one?
I've never read
It's
it.
a great book. I was forced to read it in 8th grade. Yeah, 8th grade.
Yeah.
But it's one of those that I really, because when you're in middle school, you hate to read. You hate to do anything that any authority figure tells you to do. So
Yeah,
at least I
it's
did.
sort of a problem.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this. And then I came back probably 3 or 4 years ago and reread it. And it's really great. But when I'm looking right here on ALA.org, they have a list of the banned and challenged books of all time. And this just has probably 12, 13 reasons of why of it being challenged. First of all, the step to get a book banned is they have to challenge it and say, hey, we have a problem with this book. And, you know, usually it's parents who have problems with the books, who most of the times haven't read the book. And so they don't know it, and they just have a problem because it might have
Scrody McBooger balls.
some weird, you know, situations. But just to give you an example, this was challenged in Kansas City, Missouri, junior high back in '85. It was challenged at the Park Hill Junior High School because the novel contains profanity and racial slurs.
Which book is this?
This is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee.
There's all that stuff in there. I didn't read it.
Oh yeah,
Damn.
it's in there.
You think racist people would read that stuff? It's got all that stuff in it.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to come back and we're going to touch on Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. If anybody, raise your hand if you've read that one.
Nope.
I actually
not.
haven't read that one.
I love the way he just fucking catches all that rye, though.
I listened to.
Yeah. I mean, he's the catcher.
audiobook.
Just catching all the rye.
Yeah. That's what happens when you're the catcher. I mean, if you don't catch it,
Then you're not a catcher. Obviously, you're a dropper.
yeah. And it's not
It's not called dropper in
in
the rye. That's right.
Yeah, this bit's not funny. Go ahead.
All right. Anyway, let's see. This one was actually, it's been challenged and actually removed in several instances. It was removed from a Washington high school reading list in 1978, removed from a required reading in a middle school in Michigan in 79, and then in 80 it was removed from Jackson Milton School libraries in Ohio.
Okay, so is the issue with that book content or audience? Because so many people that do horrible things reference and own that book. So is it more the reputation of...
No, I think most of
Or is it the content of the book itself?
I like to say it's probably like how people claim that, no, that's their interpretation of the Bible. But no, that's their interpretation of To Kill a
Right, that's what I'm
Mockingbird.
asking. Like,
Sure.
so is there any... Like, Huckleberry Finn is banned because it uses the N-bomb all the time.
No,
there's actual content in that one.
Most
so,
of the challenges in banning have been, for this book specifically, is just
Right.
because it contains profanity, is immoral, is blasphemous, and undermines morality. It conflicts with the community's social values. I mean, there's a whole list, but yeah, none of it has to do with the reader's interpretation.
Oh,
so to
okay.
say.
So they're all things. All right. It's
Let's
blasphemous
see.
and...
Yeah, it's. I mean, there's just a whole list. I will post the link in the comments. We're gonna go over a few more here. Anybody read Lord of the Flies by William Golding?
This one,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's been quite a while, but
That's
have
actually
read
one
it.
of the books that I just bought this weekend at half price.
I think
I
it's
bought that one.
It's a
again.
fucking great book. I mean, it's pretty fucked up,
yeah.
but it's a great book.
And right here in Texas, challenged by the Dallas, Texas Independent School District in '74. Now it didn't get removed because, you know, of course, I guess, you know, they were like, fuck you parents, because I don't know, you may have missed it, Nick. Most of these books are challenged by parents in schools who have never read these books.
Of course not.
Then it was challenged in South Dakota, in a South Dakota high school in '81, because the book is demoralizing as it implies that man is little more than an animal.
Right, but the thing is,
Okay.
like, the situation in that book is they're teens.
It's a very difficult
like
situation.
they're young adults. They're not even full grown-ups, and they're put like on this island. They're in this impossible situation where you're immediately in like do whatever it takes possibly to fucking survive. So yeah, you're gonna resort to base instinct.
Yeah, there's gonna be some fucked up shit that happens.
You've got nothing. It's like, okay, somebody's got to hunt. Who's good at hunting? Somebody's got to like. You just are put in this situation, and it's. Simpsons even did an episode based off of it when the bus fucking fell off the bridge, and if they swam.
Oh, I think I remember that one. Yeah, they pretty
Das
much just
Bart,
did a
I
rip
believe
off
was
of
the
it.
name of the
Yeah.
episode. Yeah, but like so, sure, like novels are always a
But it's
commentary on
fiction.
something. It's fiction, and it's like, yeah, they're doing this, but if you and a 10 other people or whatever, got put on a fucking island with absolutely nothing at all, how quickly would you resort to just base instincts in your animal instinct side? Like that, you would do that.
Very quickly.
Yeah,
Tom Hanks
it's
did it in
survival.
fucking Castaway. That movie wasn't banned.
Yeah.
Like
1984, George Orwell.
That been
oh, that's man, that's
I
a
thought
heavy
that was
fucking
pretty
read.
appropriate. That's in like my top 5 favorite books. I actually have 2 copies of it.
I mean, he called that shit real early.
Oh yeah.
He called it really.
I mean,
fucking early.
Newspeak, the whole organization against everybody monitoring. What was it, the INGSOC, something like that? INGSOC. Yeah, it's been a few years since I've read it, but it was challenged in the Jackson County, Florida school district in 1981 because it was viewed that his novel was pro-communist and contained explicit sexual manner. Now,
It sort of is like
explicit sexual manner. I can only recall one sex scene.
Yeah, I don't.
And
really
it
remember.
wasn't.
That's enough right there.
It wasn't.
It wasn't like there are worse. There are definitely worse things than other. I don't recall any kind of.
Are you guys familiar with Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov?
I am not.
Oh yeah, that Nabokov. Sting sings about that. That book by Nabokov. Don't stand. He says that book by Nabokov. So that's.
Oh, I just
that's how
thought you
I've
were
heard
throwing
it.
that because really, as long as you put some kind of reggae beat, you can make anything a Sting lyric. Honestly,
But it's
Yeah.
from Don't Stand.
I
So Close to
took
Me.
a
Oh, well, here,
shit
I'll give you-
today.
I'll give you a quick recap on it. The novel is notable for its controversial subject. The protagonist is a middle-aged professor, and he becomes obsessed with a 12-year-old girl.
Oh, he loves
Yeah.
that Blind Faith album cover.
Yeah, he probably does.
Oh,
well,
dude.
she might be too.
Hold up a second. So that's what that whole song "Don't Stand So Close to Me" is about.
Oh
that
yeah,
book by
get away from
Nabokov.
me, pedophile.
Yeah.
It's like he says, his car is warm and dry, just like the automatic. That book by Nabokov.
So like it really is about this, is what you're saying.
might be.
It
It
absolutely
might
is
be,
about
yes.
this.
It's a revelation.
We're gonna have to do
Also,
an after
did you
show
know
on
that
this.
he utilized that song to sue Mark Knopfler?
Really?
Oh,
How's-
really?
For what?
Well, for the.
Because I'm the music guy. He sang the
Nick
back.
explains.
He
Nick
sang.
explains.
Don't do the whole thing. He sang the background in the Dire Straits song "Money for Nothing."
That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, and it's a-
MTV.
Yeah.
So he came in and sang that, and then turned around and sued Mark Knopfler for ripping off the melody from "Don't Stand So Close to Me" by the Police when he was the one that came in and did it.
What a dick move because it was
stand so
recorded under
close
his
to
name.
me.
So he got paid. He got paid to
He
come
got double
in.
paid.
He got paid to come in and sing in the background part, and then turned around and sued because the thing he did sounded too much like his own
Something
song.
he had done.
Yep.
That's
God
another
damn it,
episode of
man.
Nick Explains.
Love it.
All right, we should cut Chad
One
off.
more.
because-
I got,
okay,
I got,
you got
I got
one more.
One
Cool.
more. Animal Farm, George Orwell. I think everybody
Again,
knows
George
that one by
Orwell.
now.
But
Yeah.
like he has 2 books.
Oh, he's got a few.
I never.
Well, he's
even
got
knew
2.
about this
Okay,
one.
sorry. He's got 2 known books.
Is
Yeah.
this
1984 and Animal Farm.
is this an adaptation from the movie?
Well, I
don't
mean, I
think-
know there's a movie, but what year?
The
Are you talking
Animal
about?
Farm
In, like,
with
the
John
60s?
Belushi.
In like the
You're thinking
60s?
Animal House.
Oh, yeah, not the same thing. Not the same thing. But I'm sure we can all.
No, Animal Farm is a
Yeah. So basically,
great study of power.
Yeah, it was. Let's see. Let me find banned from schools in the United Arab Emirates because it involves pigs and indecent images. But that's a big whoop. But a Wisconsin survey revealed in 1963 that the John Birch Society had challenged the novel's use. It objected to the words "masses will revolt." And in 1968, a New York State English Council Committee on Defense Against Censorship conducted a comparable study, and it identified the novel it put its novel on its list of problem books. The reason was cited that Orwell was a communist.
Jesus.
That's 2. That's 2.
Well, this is funny. The whole thing is like The animals rise up to overthrow the farmer because they all know the farmer's going to kill them.
Yeah, but the whole book is an allegory for the world at the time.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
okay.
absolutely it is, because the pigs lead the revolution and then end up being the power.
Are the pigs Stalin?
I
don't remember.
Probably
It's
could
been a
be,
while.
yeah. But they end up being the problem. So, like, they lead the revolution that is successful, but then now they're like, well, fuck, now the pigs are running shit.
Can't have that happen. God damn it.
You can't be run by a bunch of fucking pigs.
Yeah, man.
Haven't you heard that Beatles song? Look at all the little piggies in the starch.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah,
ships.
yeah. That's my favorite one.
Look at all the little piggies, life is getting worse. Only having dirt to play around in. It's a real song, I swear to God.
That's right.
All right.
One of their least popular ones, though, too. It's not that great.
It immediately follows Blackbird, which is
Yes.
one of the more popular ones. So.
Ah. Blackbird singing.
Yes.
Yeah. I know
Blackbird
that
leads right into piggies.
Well, thank you so much for that. Was that your last one,
one.
right?
I mean, I can keep going, but in the interest of time, we'll wrap
let's
it
get
short.
on your timeline here.
All right, so I have a timeline set up.
So we've gone over microaggressions. We've been talking about some banned books, which we all sort of knew
And
there were some
art.
banned books and art.
First thing I would like to do, because I know there is some foreign press involved here, and they might not understand.
Is going to.
I'm going to discuss issues with music, censorship and banning in
It seems
music.
only, I thought we should talk about this, and who else to talk about this than Nick? The Passion. Mason Slayer. Passion.
All right. Well, it all started in 1934 when Congress created the Federal Communications Commission,
What year was
also
that?
known as the FCC. 1934.
FCC.
They created the FCC.
Freaking FCC.
Right. We all know that Family Guy episode. The fellas at the frickin' FCC.
Take a whiz when you want to
Take a piss. Right. So they created the FCC to monitor radio, TV, wire, satellite, and cable. Although I don't know what satellite meant in 1934, because there weren't actual satellites.
We hadn't even been to space.
So I'm not sure what satellite meant in
Well,
1934. But
the term satellite just refers to something rotating around a body. So technically, our moon is a satellite.
Right.
And
so
it's
the
referred to
FCC
as
had to
moon.
monitor the
They
moon.
had to monitor the moon.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. So anyway, just dipping our toe into the
And
water
isn't that
there.
the Comedy Central logo? Just
little
the,
bit,
the
yeah.
two C's like that?
All right.
Oh,
next.
shit.
Next, moving on to 1955.
Moving on up.
1955.
55. There's a lot of jive when it comes to Clive.
Police threaten
Fucking
Elvis
Clive.
fucking Presley, the king of rock and roll. Well, he wasn't quite yet at 55 in 1955.
He was just getting there.
He was just this fucking punk.
Hey,
in
show me that
1955.
thing you did with
They-
the guitar
They
there.
threatened Elvis Presley with obscenity charges. They were going to arrest him on obscenity charges
Hey, what do you mean you're going to charge me with obscenity?
if he did not stand still during his performances.
I just got him stand
He
here
had
and
to
sing my song.
stand just
He had to
perfectly
stand still.
still.
Let me tell you
Because
something.
his hip movement was too much.
Let
was
me tell you
provocative.
something right
It was
now,
too
boy.
enticing.
Let me tell you something, Copper. I'm going to get up there, and the music does what it does to me.
Is that your Elvis impression?
You better believe it, boy.
That's terrible.
That's the
fucking
best.
awful.
Let me tell you, that's the best Elvis Presley you're going to ever hear.
Tell you what.
Well, this is the young. You think that it just comes out of nowhere? Then it comes a little lower. Then you're like, hey, let me tell you what, boy. That's more like
All right.
cash.
So, bumping forward 1 year to 1956, this is an interesting thing.
Let me tell you something.
Pick up sticks.
1956, pick up sticks. Nat King Cole, the crooner himself, Nat King Cole, was assaulted during a live performance.
Why would someone throw salt at him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could get in his eyes. That could burn.
Yeah.
Or, God forbid, he had an open wound. And salt gets into that.
God forbid.
So he was assaulted during a live performance by members of the White Citizens Council of Birmingham, Alabama.
Now ain't that a bitch?
That is a bitch. They were claiming that they are protecting young teen girls, and black musicians are just a part of the plot to mongrelize the United States.
Well, they're not wrong.
Mongrelized.
Mongrelize.
Have you ever watched that
Mongrels.
show Mongrels?
No.
I have not.
That's a good one.
What's it on?
I think it's HBO.
Hobo.
Okay.
Right.
So So poor old Nat. The guy,
old Nat.
he's the most fucking tame singer. Oh, you black, we here with your rhythm. You're
He had a
taking
good
our
start.
teen girls and you're fucking mongrelizing America. Like, have you listened to Nat King Cole? L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. Is even more than I could ever adore and love. That's right. So yeah, I mean that is some riotous music right there. That's terrible.
That had me going, man.
So
I got a chub.
all right, so there's Nat King Cole.
For
Jumping
a
up,
different reason.
jumping up to 1963. The song by the Kingsmen, Louie Louie.
Not familiar with that one. How's it go?
So here's a little.
I'll cut his mic.
Turn his mic off.
That's exactly how that song sounds.
So, I was in a church group band, and they sang a version of the song called "Pharaoh, Pharaoh."
Oh Jesus!
Let my people go.
Wow. So 1963 saw the end to a 2-year FBI investigation from when the song was released in 1961. The Kingsmen Louie Louie spent 2 years on the FBI banned watch list.
What is Louie about? That song?
The song is actually about a guy trying to catch a boat to go across the sea to visit this lover of his.
A guy to see his own lover? Or
He has a girl.
Oh.
The verse is actually, a fine little girl, she waits for me. I catch that ship across the sea. So he's just trying to get back to Jamaica to visit this girl that he hooked up with.
Oh, and
That's
her
it.
name is Louie. Or his name is Louie.
Maybe his, I don't know. The chorus is Louie Louie, oh no, baby, me gotta go.
Me got to go.
So anyway, so after 2 years of investigating, the FBI deemed the song not obscene, unbanned it. The reason for them deeming it not obscene was because the lyrics were too indecipherable to be obscene. They couldn't prove that it was obscene, so they eventually had to say, okay, it's not, because you can't understand it enough to be offended by it.
Yeah.
All right, fast forward to 1966.
That's right.
Pick up sticks.
Biggest band in the world at that moment, the Beatles.
Beatles.
Sir. Well, he's not a sir. Sorry, my bad. Not sir. John Lennon made a very controversial comment. Now, here's my problem. Everybody idolizes musicians, and they're false idols. Nobody bats an eye. One of them says, we're bigger than Jesus, and everybody loses their minds. That was a Joker reference. Everybody from the Dark Knight.
It's actually really good.
A Joker reference. Anyway,
Good
so
job, dog.
John Lennon made the problem of saying there are more Beatles posters hanging up than crucifixes in teenagers' rooms. So we're more popular than Jesus, is all he said. And everybody went fucking nuts. There were protests. They were burning records. 22 United States stations, of course, not worldwide, because nobody else gives a shit, only U.S., banned their music outright.
Well, because we're a Christian nation.
A lot of southern churches threatened to excommunicate members if they were caught listeing to Beatles music. You were going to get kicked out of the fucking church for listening to the Beatles.
We actually have some audio from John Lennon, him actually spinning. Here it goes.
Oh, so I'm sorry that I said what I said. Well, that it was taken the way it was. I didn't mean that we are greater or better than him in all his glory or whatever he is. I just meant that we're more popular than him, and I'm sorry that it was taken to be whatever it is.
And you didn't let me finish. I said, we're bigger than Jesus in That's all I was trying to say. Why does he sound Irish?
That was actually his explanation. Like, he apologized without actually apologizing, which I thought was a really fucking badass move on Lennon's part.
Which we have audio of. Here it comes.
I'm sorry that I said that it was taken the way it was taken. All I said was we're more popular than him. I didn't mean that we're better or greater than him as a being or an idea or whatever he is.
Hey, John. Why don't you go give your balls a tug, you tit fucker?
Anyway, all he said was the Beatles are more popular with the youth than Jesus is, and he didn't mean Jesus sucks or whatever. He just said teens pay more attention to the Beatles than they do to Jesus right now. That's all he meant. Anyway, so music was banned for a while. A lot of burnings, a lot of crazy shit. So now moving ahead to 1969. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a good year.
I can believe
Yeah,
I don't know
pretty
if those
much,
sounds
yeah.
are possible in a 69.
And not if you're doing it right, they're not. Neither of you would have open mouths to make those noises if you're doing it right. Yeah.
Fucking tits.
All right.
Yes.
So,
Yes,
1969.
It's kind of appropriate for the
Right, I
image.
know.
Yeah.
So, 1969, we're dealing with John Lennon again.
John Lennon
That fucking
again?
John Lennon.
This is almost after the Beatles stopped, right?
This is before. They officially broke up in 70.
Okay.
So, in 1969, John Lennon and current girlfriend, to-be wife, Yoko Ono, released an album called Two Virgins.
Two Virgins, that's right.
On which the two of them appeared naked on the cover.
Grossly naked. Did we have that picture?
We do have a picture.
There it is.
So the New York Police Department seized 30,000 copies alone.
30,000?
30,000
Of this album?
of this album.
Oh, gross. Look at the bush, dude.
Yeah. And there's John's Lennon just hanging out
Oh,
there.
he is all out there.
Yep.
Can you make that bigger, Brandon?
Unapologetically, just fucking throwing it out there. The U.S. Customs
I want to see a big old...
brought
up a suit.
You want to see a big Lennon dick?
Yeah,
and
make that full screen.
So
for
the
me.
U.S.
Oh, I will.
Customs made an attempt to stop the album from entering the U.S. entirely. So this
Let me
album
know what
was
you think of the transition.
was trying to be banned from ever even entering the United States at all completely.
This
US,
album?
U.S. Customs was trying.
But didn't they do that with the Beatles when they tried to come over here? Didn't they try to just stop them from coming over?
No.
Didn't somebody try that?
I don't think
thought
so. 'cause
somebody-
They came over and played the Ed
he's thinking
Sullivan
of the
show.
Stones, dude.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
it
the
was
Stones.
The
It was
Stones.
the Stones.
That's
Yeah,
what
we
it
talked
was.
about that on the Rock
Yeah.
and Roll Conspiracy show. All right, so
They're not the same band. That's a microaggression. When you damn it, stupid son of a bitch.
so yeah, so now we had 1969 coincidentally naked people. Nice.
There it is.
Moving on. Oh,
Jesus,
there's a bigger
look at
picture.
that turtle head.
Turtle head.
Well,
She's
he's
got-
English, so
look
he's
at those-
uncircumcised.
Look at those nipples. They like hang on the bottom of the tit. Like not
Well,
in the,
Hey,
Well, she
man.
wasn't young.
and she'd had kids.
I'm gonna do my impression of Yoko Ono.
Wait, do it again. You gotta have some of that going on. All right, moving on to 1970. Jerry Garcia, famed guitarist for the Grateful Dead.
Okay.
He gave an interview where he, according to...
Wait, so he's not the one that came up with the Ben and Jerry's flavor?
No.
Oh, fuck.
Cherry Garcia. I've never had it. Was it good?
According to the FBI, as they were bringing a case against this, he gave an interview that talked too much about sex and fecal matter.
Gross.
Everybody poops.
So here's the actual quote, because as the FBI said, he goes, "Shit, man, I must answer the phone 900 fucking times a day, man. Right, and it sucks it right fucking out of you, man, that kind of shit." Here's the actual quote that he said. And granted, he did cuss a lot on the radio, which you're not allowed to do. But, for example, I have friends who I've known since, like, they started college, you know, and like now it's 8 years later, and they're all called PhDs, stuff like that. It's just coming out in those terms. I know quite a few of these people who switched their major in the last year to ecology and that kind of shit, because it's really important right now. It's a big emergency going on. Okay, so, and their approach to it is generally to get together on the level of bodies of influence, that is to say governmental shit, you know, things like that and so forth and stuff like that. So he repeatedly said shit, but he was talking about his friends going into ecology. Anyway, so the reason this is pertinent is because this is the first time that the indecency provisions of the Radio Act of 1927, something enacted in 1927, this is the first time it was actually used to financially punish a radio station in 1970 because of Jerry Garcia saying shit, fuck on the radio, talking about his friends going into ecology. So it was a thing enacted in 1927, finally used in 1970, and so this radio station was in trouble for that.
And they
All right.
paid the fine.
Moving on to 1973.
Oh, look at Jerry Garcia. Oh,
Yeah, man.
take him
1970s Jerry Garcia. He had color in his hair and shit. He was all not dead. It was great.
Yeah, you're typically going to have color in your hair.
Yeah. So 1973, this is a very, very important milestone. There's a case called Miller versus California, where the Supreme Court attempts to define obscenity, make an actual definition of what is obscene.
Wow, okay.
And then also, beyond that, holds that obscenity is not protected by the First Amendment. And they came up with the Miller test.
Oh, interesting.
So,
let's talk about this.
They made a Miller test to decide what is.
Speaking of Miller, can I get another beer? I guess I'll go grab one.
You have to grab it.
I got you.
Thank you.
So the
brother.
Miller test, what decides? What
Another round.
the test that decides what is obscene and what is not. It's the United. Damn it.
So there's a test out there
Yes.
called the Miller test that determines what is obscene.
What is
or
obscene and what is not.
Interesting. So they use a test to determine if something. Okay, this is great. So let's explore on this. Do you have it going?
Yes, yes.
I'll keep stalling for time.
No, it's cool. So they wanted to define specifically what's obscene, what's not. So they could say, if this is obscene, it's not covered by the First Amendment, we can prosecute. So here's the test.
Okay, here we go.
Obscene materials are defined as those that the average person, applying contemporary community standards, find, taken as a whole, appeal to the prurient interest that depicts or describe in a patently offensive way sexual conduct or excretory function specifically defined by applicable state law, and that the work, taken as a whole, lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. That is the worst run-on sentence. That's one fucking sentence.
It just it threw in so many things, and I'm like,
right. I imagine they made
behind
it convoluted as shit. Anyway, so it basically, if the common person in whatever area, as long as it's in state law, finds this offensive, then that is offensive. And that's what anyway.
I am not down with this Miller test at all.
No. And so, as far as I know, the Miller test has never been used.
Good.
To win, like it's never been
held
used
up in
successfully.
court.
Speaking of Miller,
No,
All right.
but the fact that
Miller time.
so in 1973 we're at that point where we're coming up with this, where we need to define obscenity to make it illegal, and we try to come up with guidelines as to how.
I can get behind the nudity. I can get behind
Sure.
some things you don't want your children to see.
All right, now we get to the big one.
Okay.
Here we get to the big one. 1984. I was 2 years old, so I remember this clear as day.
I was just coming in the world here.
The National
Got something for
PTA.
this?
There's a National PTA.
National PTA.
Because we all know PTA.
Yeah, the Parent Teachers Association.
Yeah.
There's a national one.
Oh,
The NTP.
the
NPTA.
parent
So,
team.
the National PTA adopts a resolution for rating systems on music.
Oh, that's those labels that we see, the parental advisory.
Not what they wanted. They wanted actual ratings.
like PG-13.
like movies. Right.
I see.
So they wanted an actual rating system. And then Tipper Gore went out and bought her daughter a Prince album and got really offended by some of the lyrics on there.
Wow.
And she formed the PMRC. And then, God damn it, shit blew up. Shit blew up.
Tell me
This
more.
is a big fucking deal. This is a big fucking deal.
This is in the 70s? 73?
This is in 84.
84.
So
That's right.
music and expression officially went before the Senate. It like fucking really hit ahead here because they wanted to rate. You have to rank, like. So, all sorts of artists poured in. The PMRC made a list of the Filthy 15.
Filthy 15.
The
what?
Filthy 15. The Filthy 15 artists.
Oh my God, that'd be awesome to be on that list.
So here's the Filthy 15 playlist from
it is.
PMRC. Or not. Damn it. I saved this fucking link. I'm sorry.
Edit point.
Edit point. How do I...
So anyway, but you did say it went before Congress.
It was a Senate hearing.
Sorry, we're more concerned with the.
I saved it. I fucking saved the
We're
link
more
to this
concerned with
thing.
the actual podcast.
You're just saving out, having to cut it.
Now how do... Or not. Damn it. I saved this fucking link. I'm sorry. Do I get back?
Edit point.
Edit point. How do I...
Yeah, that's a good edit point. Where it says edit point, edit point.
That's why I do it. Hey guys,
Okay.
sorry if you're watching us.
Sorry,
on
all right.
just stand by.
So the song that...
Hold up a second. Here
This
we go.
is how a podcast is made.
Just
guys.
come in seamlessly like this with it, all right?
I'm sorry.
Edit point.
Edit point. How do I... So the song that started it all from Prince, Darling Nikki. Because
that's
it
a good one.
Talked about sex and masturbation.
Oh.
But Sheena Easton is on the list, Judas Priest, Vanity, Motley Crue, AC/DC, Twisted Sister, Madonna, Wasp, Def Leppard, Merciful Fate, Black Sabbath, Mary Jane Girls, Venom, and even Cyndi Lauper. What? Because she has
Girls
a song,
wanna have fun?
She Bop. She Bop, which is about
was offensive.
masturbation.
She bop.
So, because of this, Tipper Gore ran with it, started the PMRC. So now, artists had to come out and go in front of the Senate, which I'm sure they never thought they would ever do, sit and have to testify and take questions
Wear a
from
suit.
and explain themselves to senators. And we pulled some clips. I think the most powerful one, to me, was Frank Zappa. The one that was actually the most powerful for the case was John Denver, because he was the good guy. He was on their side. Like, they saw him as a pure, clean-cut good guy. So when he came out in protest to this, that's what really won the case. But I think we got some clips from Frank Zappa. He gave about a 34-minute speech, and goddamn it, look it up. Do it. Listen to it all, listeners. Go find it. Obviously, we can't play the whole thing, but we found some clips. He opened with explaining the First Amendment, which I feel is necessary. So let's start with this first clip.
First thing I would like to do, because I know there is some foreign press involved here, and they might not understand what the issue is about. One of the things the issue is about is the First Amendment to the Constitution. And it's short, and I'd like to read it so they will understand. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. That's for reference. These are my personal observations and opinions. I speak on behalf of no group or professional organization. The PMRC proposal is an ill-conceived piece of nonsense which fails to deliver any real benefits to children, infringes the civil liberties of people who are not children, and promises to keep the courts busy for years dealing with the interpretational and enforcemental problems inherent in the proposal's design. It is my understanding that, in law, First Amendment issues are decided with a preference for the least restrictive alternative. In this context, the PMRC demands are the equivalent of treating dandruff by decapitation. First thing I'd like to do, because I know there is some foreign press.
The thing with Frank Zappa is he is hyper intelligent. Frank Zappa is an incredibly intelligent human being. Nah, well, I mean, it's hit or miss.
It's too avant-garde for me.
Well,
is that fair enough?
Then maybe you suck too much to understand it.
Fair enough.
Oh, shots fired.
With every action is an equal and opposite
No,
reaction.
I'm about 40-60 with like and dislike Frank Zappa music. I mean, he has a lot
Very
of weird stuff, but
interesting.
he's very smart and he's very well spoken. Like,
I was surprised when I watched some of that. I was like, shit.
Because early Frank Zappa stuff was just kind of avant-garde and weird. Later, Frank Zappa, he got really perverted. He did
refined himself. And
he
got
had songs
into
like
his thing.
he had songs like Dynamo Hum, but you can't make Dynamo hum. You can't make Dynamo come, and he just got all fucking perverted and nasty. And he definitely did that. So he matured into the pervert lyrically, and that's why, oddly enough, he wasn't on the list of the Filthy 15 for some reason. Anyway, so they were talking about
Nobody listens to him.
more restrictions or how to do stuff, and this next clip is him talking about how it's not a governmental responsibility, it's a parental responsibility. Which
yeah, but
it
the
should
legitimate concern is a matter of taste on for the individual
Like,
parent
you,
and how much
as a
sexual
parent,
information that parent
need
wants
to
to
decide
give their
what your
child.
children
So
can
what?
and
Well,
can't
what do they
handle.
do? The kids need to ask you, or should they buy it first? Like that's I think where it goes.
Well,
from.
we definitely will get there.
Okay.
Because he actually came up with the solution
Good.
in lieu of the rating system. But he has this great clip here.
Hang on. Stall.
So, because an artist shouldn't be concerned about it. You put out what you want to put out. It's not on you to worry about whether a kid gets it or not. Like, it's you got to put out stuff for adults too, you know?
It's like pornography, man. Like you don't. The kids are not supposed to have it. They
Right.
need to stay
And
away from it.
whose responsibility is that to keep the kids from getting it? Is it the artist? Is it the person making its responsibility?
Do you think an artist that would say words like "fuck" or "shit" in their songs, do you think they'd say, "Oh no, I'd want kids to listen to this"?
No, but are they not going to say that because of the off chance of kids? Like, it's not their responsibility to not say or do because they're not the ones controlling what the kids get. So anyway, here's Zappa.
Yeah, but the legitimate concern is a matter of taste on for the individual parent and how much sexual information that parent wants to give their child at what age, at what time, in what quantity, okay? And I think that because there is a tendency in the United States to hide sex, which I think is an unhealthy thing to do, and many parents do not give their children good sexual education, I would object to that. I think that, first of all, I believe it was you who asked the question of Mrs. Gore, whether there was any other indication on the album as to the contents. And I would say that a buzzsaw blade between the guy's legs on the album cover is a good indication that it's not for little Johnny. I would object to that. I think that, first of all, I believe it was you who asked the question of Mrs. Gore, whether there was any other indication on the album as to the contents. And I would say that a buzzsaw blade between a guy's legs on the album cover is a good indication that it's not for little Johnny. I would object to that. I think that, first of all, I believe it was you who asked the question of Mrs. Gore, whether there was any other indication on the album as to the contents. And I would say that a buzzsaw blade between a guy's legs on the album cover is a good indication that it's not for little Johnny. I would object to that. I think that, first of all, I believe it was you who asked the question of Mrs. Gore, whether there was any other indication on the album as to the contents. And I would say that a buzzsaw blade between a guy's legs on the album cover is a good indication that it's not for little Johnny. I would object to that. I think that, first of all, I believe it was you who asked the question of Mrs. Gore, whether there was any other indication on the album as to the contents. And I would say that a buzzsaw blade between a guy's legs on the album cover is a good indication that it's not for little Johnny. I would object to that. I think that, first of all, I believe it was you who asked. Yeah, but the legitimate concern is a matter of taste on for the individual parent and how much sexual information that parent wants to give their child at what age, at what time, in what quantity, okay? And I think that because there is a tendency in the United States to hide sex, which I think is an unhealthy thing.
What the fuck is going on over here? Fucking Baba Brandon over here.
I would object to that. I think that, first of all, I believe it was you who asked the question of Mrs. Gore, whether there was any other indication on the album as to the contents. And I would say that a buzzsaw blade between a guy's legs on the album cover is a good indication that it's not for little Johnny. I would object
to. Cost another couple $100.
Ready to pick up.
Here we go. So here's Frank Zappa.
Hold up a second. Let me play this and let me get
some
more
Zappa. So anyway, here's Zappa.
Yeah, but the legitimate concern is a matter of taste on for the individual parent and how much sexual information that parent wants to give their child at what age, at what time, in what quantity, okay? And I think that because there is a tendency in the United States to hide sex, which I think is an unhealthy thing to do, and many parents do not give their children good sexual education in spite of the fact that little books for kids are available, and other parents demand that sexual education be taken out of school, it makes the child vulnerable, because if you don't have something rational to compare it to, when you see or hear about something that is aberrated, you do not perceive it as an aberration. Yeah, but the legitimate concern is a matter of...
He's fucking brilliant. He's great. He's great. And to further prove that point, I mean, they go on, and he has... God, seriously, watch this clip. But he goes fucking head-to-head with 5 different senators. There's one point where one of them's like, do you buy toys? He's like, no, my wife does that. And she's like, well, that's not just a wife's duty. It's like, I don't fucking mean that. I mean that I'm a touring musician. Like, it's like, fuck off. But
Microaggression.
She's like, I would like to see what type of toys your kids have. He's like, well, come by. I'll show them to you.
He really like...
Yeah, he just goes, come on by. I'll show them to you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's like just going head-to-head with all these people. But he brings home another point later when a senator from Nebraska is asking him something, and he has a great response of like, just fucking common sense.
Just fucking common sense.
Just fucking common sense.
I was thinking that.
Common sense.
Well, I would object to that. I think that, first of all, I believe it was you who asked the question of Mrs. Gore whether there was any other indication on the album as to the contents. And I would say that a buzzsaw blade between a guy's legs on the album cover is a good indication that it's not for little Johnny. Well, I would object to that. I think that, first of all, I believe it was you.
Yeah. So a buzzsaw blade between a man's legs is a good indication that it's not for little Johnny. So if you see this shit, don't let your kid have it. Like, it's,
that is common sense.
It's not... I mean, granted, okay, so some idiot thought it'd be great to have a buzzsaw blade going up some dude's junk as an album cover art, whatever. So that sucks or what, but it's your responsibility as a parent. You're raising your child.
Yes.
It's up to you to raise your fucking child.
Yeah.
It's not the teacher's fault. It's not the artist's fault. If someone writes music intended for adults, it's not their fault if kids hear it.
I agree 100%.
Right,
with
like
that.
when Ozzy was trying, or someone tried to sue Ozzy because a kid committed suicide.
Do we have that clip?
No, I don't have that clip.
Yeah, because it's like get the gun.
So he had a song,
shoot.
and someone committed suicide, and they tried to sue Ozzy over it. Like, okay, millions of people all around the world have heard this song, and one committed suicide. That did obviously 999.
Same thing goes with that Blink-182 song. That dun 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 dun.
Right,
dun,
but
dun,
so
dun,
like,
dun, dun.
someone interpreted it that way. That's not the artist's fault. That's
Don't waste your time on me. I'm already
the voices on your head. So to further prove this point about everybody interprets it their own way. It's not in the artist, like, yes, they say things, or sometimes they'll even be poetic about it and use imagery to explain what they're trying to say, but everybody interprets things differently in their own way. And this was perfectly exemplified by Dee Snider from Twisted Sister.
My man.
Came in, and it was great.
Just go. I didn't,
it was great because he came in, he knew he was being called in. He's the only artist that was on the list of the Filthy 15, the only one of the Filthy 15 that was called in to actually testify before the Senate. And he knew that it was because he has the big hair and he has the makeup and he cross-dresses and his songs are about sex and drugs and whatever. And they assumed he was going to come in being an idiot and his incomprehensible, yeah, man, well, we got to sing about fucking drugs and party, blah, blah, blah. And he was going to come in and be so idiotic that it was going to further their point and damage the cause of the artists. But he came in, still with the big hair and the makeup.
Huge hair, dude.
Huge hair, torn, fucking sleeveless denim vest and tight jeans, and pulled this piece of paper out of his back pocket and spent like forever unfolding it. Like, I think he intentionally folded it that many times just so he had to sit there and be like...
You can only do it about 11 times.
Anyway, and then had this opening statement about, well, since I'm the only one of your forbidden list that was actually called in here to testify, and just had this very clear, very educated speaking voice, and they were like, holy fuck, he can form sentences. Oh my god, oh my
By
god,
the way,
holy fuck.
Have you seen his movie Strangeland?
I have not.
He wrote and directed it and starred in it.
I have not.
It's about this sadomasochist fucking guy that pierces people and hangs them up, and he does it too. Oh man! Then he tries to.
D. Snyder does it.
Yeah, it's called Strangeland.
All right.
I remember watching it as a kid and walking home from my friend's place and being scared as fuck. But yeah, we ready to go?
So there's a Twisted Sister song called "Under the Blade."
Yes, Under the Blade.
Under the Blade, and it's about the guitar player had a foot surgery, and so that the song's about his foot surgery.
Sounds like it might be like a fight song, like Under the Blade.
And that's the one that was put on the filthy list because they think it's about bondage and sadomasochism.
Did they just get the words all fucked up and construe it to fit what they wanted?
Because there's a lot of under the blade, but there's one line about being strapped down.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another line about a monster standing before you.
Okay.
But out of the 3 verses and the chorus and the bridge, those are the only 2 lines that I think could be possibly construed as anything bondage. Other than that, it's like...
Do we have the video? Is that not coming up?
It's definitely anyway, so his testimony, they were saying surely it's not a reach for people to make this song about sadomasochism, and he said no, it's not a reach, but people interpret songs how they want to interpret them. That's what music is. Tipper Gore was looking for sadomasochism,
and she found it. Yeah,
but somebody looking for surgical references would find that too.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think Tipper Gore was kinky in the streets.
Yeah, right. He was the one putting it back on them. Like, this is a song about fucking surgery. And you were wanting to find that, and so that's what you found because that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So that's why
bias.
Right, exactly, and that's why his testimony was so good. So anyway, this whole thing with the National PTA and the PMRC ended with now we have the explicit lyric stickers, the parental guidance explicit lyric stickers put on things.
Right.
Another point Frank Zappa was making against the rating system: you can't rank albums the same way you rank movies, because actors in movies are pretending.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a rated R movie, that has nothing to do with the actor personally.
Mm-hmm.
They're just pretending to be.
If
you put out an album, that is you. You created this. You wrote this. You did this. You stand behind this.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a stigma put on that, then that affects you personally.
Yeah.
And maybe ironically, to prove his point, after all this, the next album he put out was completely instrumental.
Oh, really?
Not a single word on it. An instrumental album. And guess what?
What? It got
parental advisory explicit lyric sticker
just because
was put on
him.
it. Just
because
it was
on
him.
That list. And so now everything...
He wasn't even on the list.
I thought you said he was.
No, Frank Zappa was not on...
Oh, Frank Zappa. I thought we were... Okay.
No, Zappa was not on the list. And so he put out an album of instrumental music to prove his point.
Uh-huh.
And it got the explicit lyric sticker,
damn.
which is exactly why he was saying you can't put the rating systems on an album because it's going to be a stigma and it's going to follow the specific artist.
Yep.
As opposed to actors in a movie, it doesn't fucking matter. But this is why we shouldn't have ranking on music. And then they put that on just because it was this Zappa album.
Yeah.
Obviously, they never listened to it because there's not a fucking
there's
word
not
on
a goddamn
it.
word.
Not a single
There's
word.
nothing to be interpreted.
No, not a single word. But they put explicit lyrics on it.
Damn.
So that's how fucked up the PMRC is. So moving on.
What else you got?
Jumping ahead to 1990.
1990. Dream of the 90s, fellas.
Yeah, 1990. Two Live Crew.
Oh, me so horny.
Everybody remember Two Live Crew?
Yeah.
Oh, me so
me
horny.
love you long time.
Me so horny. So yeah, I mean, it was an entire album about just sex. Like everything about it was just sex. There was no sudden or subliminal messages. There was no art going on. This was just blatant sex. This album.
I can get that. Yeah.
And people were getting arrested for selling the album. DJs were getting in trouble for playing tracks. There was a whole lot. Cops were breaking in, or not breaking in, bursting into record stores.
That's breaking in.
Okay, sure. I mean, it was open. It wasn't like they were breaking locks, breaking in, but like
they were going in with the
forcing
intent to
in,
take
right.
the albums without a warrant.
Right,
That's breaking in.
and trying to get the record store owner in legal trouble for
Sure.
even offering this album.
Wow.
In 1990. And then finally the Supreme Court ruled that it's not obscene. It's okay.
It's a mob scene.
So
Marilyn Manson. Anybody? No.
So Two Live Crew was not, finally, after about a year's worth of shit, was deemed not obscene, and it's okay.
Wow. That long. To say,
It took
hey,
a long
we're
time.
not... Chill the fuck out, people, is... I'm sure...
Hey, maybe when the cover is a dude sitting there with these two naked butts and a hand on each butt, probably don't buy that for your teenager.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do
Parent.
some
So anyway.
fucking parroting.
Moving the next year, 1991, the BBC.
Do some parenting.
The BBC. The BBC, which is it seems weird that they're the closed-minded one. Like they're usually pretty
Pretty reputable.
So they put out a list. They flat out ban 67 songs due to the Gulf War in 1991 because they were worried that these songs would offend and upset the public.
Really?
And so they wanted
In 91.
In 1991, they wanted these songs gone because they were gonna offend the public.
Man, if Don Henley's on that list, I'm going to be really upset.
Yes, he was, but only because his solo career sucked that bad. And
but for different reasons, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There was nothing purely offensive, just that, dude, Boys of Summer, fuck that song. That sucks so bad.
It's not his greatest.
So
Out on the road today, I saw a black
so
Mexican
I'm not going to read the whole
Cadillac.
list of the 67 songs, but
Little voice inside my, is that one band? Said, don't look back. You can never
look
smoke
back.
crack. Yeah.
that's.
I don't know.
That was the
what
updated
love
version.
is. What did I know?
Are you done?
This time be gone forever. I should have go.
Okay.
I can see you. Your breast keeps shining in the sun. All right, go ahead. I'm done. Officially done.
Oh, man, I was going to jump in on the next one.
Okay, so
Sunglasses.
they have I mean 67 songs, but the Cutting Crew, I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight.
I just died.
Since there's a war going on, they didn't want that song played.
Because I just died
minute,
in your
really?
arms?
Yeah, I Just Died in Your Arms
Must
Tonight.
have been something serial.
Yeah, that's not
Damn.
allowed. It's not. Cut that fucking right out.
Better cut that shit out.
War Paint. Aha's Hunting High and Low. The Cure's Killing an Arab. That one
That
kind of
one
makes
I can
sense.
I mean, it's not right
Wait a
to
minute.
ban
No,
it,
no,
but
no.
I can under like.
So anyway,
See, they did that on purpose.
They,
It's actually it's a ballot. It's a ballot about a woman.
they
who's
they
a beautiful-
banned 67. They want to get rid of 67 songs. So they got rid of 67 songs. They flat out banned them from being played
Okay.
on the radio. Anyway, so that was 91. Now moving on to 98.
Moving on.
1998, rapper Sibo.
Who?
Sibo.
You know Sibo?
Old Sibo.
I guess I don't know Sibo.
Oh man, Sibo.
Sibo.
Nick,
Oh,
tell
yes.
him about Sibo.
Tell me about Sibo.
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 Sibo got in trouble for gang violence, and part of his parole was to not do or engage in any activities that were part of or that might incite gang violence. And see, might incite is the catch here.
Might and yeah, because it leaves them open.
Because
for
then he put out
anything.
another album, and he got arrested because the lyrics on his album might incite gang violence. So he got arrested because the lyrics on his album, his music, violated his parole.
Do we know what the lyrics were specifically?
No, I do not.
No. Oh, damn.
He, as far as I know, this is the only case where lyrics are used to
Let's
justify
rise up.
violating parole.
It's all right to kill people.
And he was convicted on that?
No, charges were
Charged?
dropped.
Oh,
They were dropped.
Good.
They were definitely
it's-
dropped.
it's freedom of
Because they
speech.
got before a judge, and he was like,
He's like, get the fuck out of here.
seriously?
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But no, the cops were like, oh, no. Gang violence. Blah, 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 and they arrested him violating parole. So, yeah. I mean, and that's... As an artist, you get to say what you want to say. Just because you sing about smoking weed doesn't mean you're actually doing it. That's how they could get away with it when we
Theater of the
right?
mind. Yeah.
So, anyway, then in 2001, here we go. Ooh, 2001.
Space Odyssey.
Clear Channel banned songs after 9/11.
Really?
Yeah.
Where
songs
were
did they
you
ban?
when they built that last?
So they wanted to get rid of these songs because of 9/11.
9/11.
Once it became controversial, they said it was more of a suggestion, not a ban.
Oh.
So then they
see.
dropped it from ban to
Yeah.
we suggest you don't play these, not an outright ban. But there are a lot of inconsistencies. So here's something to talk about this. There's 165 suggestions,
Right.
including every single song by Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, shit. Every
All of it,
single
completely.
song.
All of Rage Against the Machine, gone. Knocking on Heaven's Door, both Guns N' Roses and Bob Dylan. However, Smooth Criminal by Alien Ant Farm,
But not Michael Jackson.
but not Michael Jackson.
That doesn't even make sense.
Right. Frank Wilson's version of Last Kiss. Where, oh, where
I don't even
can
know that
my
one.
baby be? The Lord took her away from me. That version banned. Pearl Jam's cover, not banned.
Oh, I can see my
Martha and the Vandells' version of Dancing in the Street and Van Halen's version of Dancing in the Street banned, but David Bowie and Mick Jagger's duet of Dancing in the Street not banned.
Gross.
Leaving on a Jet Plane by Peter, Paul, and Mary banned, but John Denver, his original version, who actually died on a jet plane, not banned.
What are those? Because they dealt with a jet plane?
I don't know.
Are you fucking serious? You talking about
Okay,
a fucking
but-
overreaction?
But the original version of it was not banned.
Wow.
So a lot of inconsistencies. So I mean, we have to list all 167 songs if you really want, but
No.
Yeah,
a lot of
that'll be
let's wrap
posted
her up.
on the.
a lot of inconsistencies regarding the Clear Channel ban list, and then once the fucking I don't know, the heat started coming up. They're like, oh,
It's a
no, suggestion.
So they haven't really banned anything since then, right?
There was 2003, the Dixie Chicks debacle.
Oh yeah, they criticized Bush.
They said we are disappointed that Bush is from from Texas.
Yep.
Are
Our
they
home
from
state
Texas
of Texas.
too?
They're
Oh.
from Texas too, and because they said that again. Like, it seems to happen every couple of years. There's a big album burning, or we got to fucking burn all these records. But a lot of stations refused to play them, so they were banned from being played on radio stations because they spoke out against the president.
Do you think anybody should be banned, no matter what their content is about?
See,
And
public
should their music be banned based on their personal
public
effects?
public radio is different. Like, you as a parent can't necessarily control what jumps up on the radio if you're driving in the car with your kids.
Okay.
Satellite radio would be different. But so I get that a bit on public radio. So if you're not playing a song because it has F-bombs or it says, what was it, lick your pussy till it's sticky or whatever we were listening to earlier,
I
like,
don't know what you're talking
obviously that shouldn't be on
about.
public radio. But because an artist has a certain political view, that doesn't mean shit. Like,
Right.
Ted Nugent is very openly anti-Obama, but his music was still played on the radio during the Obama years. So he was very
That's
outspoken
right.
against them. So, like,
That's right.
you shouldn't stop playing somebody just
Should
because of their
Michael
political
Jackson's
views.
music should Michael Jackson's music be banned because it's known that he's a
Because he's a pedophile,
pedophile,
pederass,
Fucking
8-year-olds,
pederast.
dude.
Fucking 8-year-olds.
8-year-olds, dude.
Am I wrong?
See, I don't like.
Am I wrong?
And I don't know, because then you have to decide, like, where's the line between we're radio. We only care about the song. We're just about the art here.
Well, let's talk about
So
radio,
there's
like,
the line
where they're
but
where they will.
This is
censor
why
that kind of
this is
thing.
why we're talking about the censorship and the banning. Just to wrap up, Dixie Chicks 2003. The only more modern thing I found was Roger Waters in 2017 has been denied concerts because of his political standings and the way he speaks about
Trump and
certain
shit.
things going on. No, not even in America.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah, it just.
So worldwide.
I
Sort of always been.
I
that
can't
way.
remember the.
Well, we're one of the last countries
the
that
one
will
example
allow.
I gave, but right, but he was very outspoken about something, and they were Israel.
Israel. Yeah.
And so they weren't going to have him because of his politics. So he was being banned from being able to perform because of his politics.
Well,
so now how do we deal with Michael Jackson's a pedophile? Do we listen to his music? We just can't enjoy these songs anymore now?
what do you think? What do you think
Like,
about it?
can we not watch old Kevin Spacey movies? Can I not think that Usual Suspects is a badass movie now because
What do you think?
Kevin Spacey's a pederass?
Does it ruin it for you at all? Like,
I don't
especially when you
know.
look at the beginning of American Beauty, and
Right.
it's like
Oh,
him, where
shit.
he's
Or the
jacking-
whole
this is-
subject that he's like
This is me
lusting
jacking
after.
off in the shower.
Yeah.
This is the highlight of my day.
Yeah.
The rest of it is just
Well, not the
downhill,
beginning.
from
The whole
here.
point of the movie where he's wanting to sleep with an underage girl.
which is like completely out of character for him.
Well, because she's female, right?
Well, the original script was the guy. It was supposed to be a guy.
The
But
guy
they
was
didn't
supposed
think
to be
it would
a guy?
have the mass appeal that
Yeah,
so,
this is low splains.
Lows.
Well, they haven't really banned anything else since then.
Not too much. Not
because
too much.
It's too evident that we have freedom of speech and we can say whatever the fuck we
Right,
want.
and they've tried to define that a lot,
It's
but
just not going to happen.
I mean, it's the first article. It's the first
The first of what?
article.
Oh,
of the 10
of-
bills
of the
the
10
Bill of
bills
Rights.
that
Oh,
fucking.
that thing.
It's the very first one. The first thing they wanted to say is you have the right to fucking do this.
And you know the first thing I want to say right now, and I think I'm actually going to sing it.
Say it.
I'm proud to be
Oh,
an
gee.
American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the man
Can't
who
find the harmony.
died,
Sorry.
who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land, God bless the USA.
Cue the jets. Cue the jets.
It's beautiful.
That was another.
Every vet everywhere is super proud of that performance.
And I hope they're proud of it. We're proud of them.
I
for
mean,
being-
veterinarian. Veterans are obviously pissed off.
Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Emergency Exit.
Oh,
Thank
thanks
you.
for putting
Yeah,
up with
band
us, guys.
music.
What an episode it's been. It's one of the longer ones we've had in a longer time there, you guys. Well, we just had to throw so much
sorry,
in there.
I overprepared.
No, Nick had a lot of good stuff to say. We had to
Yeah.
listen to every bit of it.
We talked about books, artwork, fucking songs.
We
It's a good
stream
one.
live on Facebook every Monday. We might move that somewhere. Who knows?
We're gonna move that.
You know who I ran into the other
Change
day
it? No,
downtown?
no, no! Don't change the subject.
Nah, well, who knows? I don't want to.
Who'd you run into
You ran
downtown?
into-
Christy Sobieta
Really?
and her little friend,
Oh,
which I guess they're together. I don't know.
Something
I thought,
Uranus?
I thought she was
no,
married.
that's Sarah. Oh, Chrissy.
Oh.
Christy Sobieta.
Was the singer.
We need to get her back on.
Well, anyways, if you guys want to follow us on Twitter, follow Nick at Ryder Guitar. You want to follow Brandon? EMEX Pod. That's what it is. At EMEX Pod. I'm at That's Right Los. Next, we're going to be back to normal stuff. We did this 3 series. It's crazy. But we finished it. I hope you guys like. So, for Brandon, the Hard Hat Mitchell. For Nick the Passion Rider, I'm Lo saying, that's right.
That's right.
I was gonna dash right with you, but
You kind
I
of
don't
threw
know
us
what to
all
do.
off there.
That's right.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
All right, that's fine. It happens.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
See you guys next week.